Hello, hello, hello.
Hello, hello.
What's happening, Nicholas? Welcome to the first hopefully a long series of Tuesday Night Mayhem
from GeekTime Television.
From GeekTime. Look at that, Pete. It's right. You're doing the weatherman thing properly. I love it.
It's all that puppeteer training.
Yeah. So let's introduce who's on the show here. We have the lovely Peter Bradley and the Judah Freidenbach, Judah Buddha.
What's going on, guys? Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're kind of echoey. And check your settings. I've had the same issue today. I never touched this audio mixer. It's always set up to do this, and for some stupid freaking reason, it's not working today.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me well now?
Yeah.
Oh, I can definitely hear you.
You just don't sound like you normally do.
No. Let me see.
You sound like you have you're muffled. You don't sound clean.
How about now?
Dirty.
It sounds more like you're using your webcam instead of the.
Oh, let me see if that's.
Yeah, check your settings.
Yeah, I'm having issues trying to assign different sources on my PC.
Yeah.
I noticed, like with the Macs, you can plug anything into it, and it just goes right to whatever you plug into it. With a PC, it's like once you plug something into it, it bypasses this, or sometimes it doesn't get selected.
So. Yeah. Even I'm using an iMac here. And
let's see. Can you hear me better now?
No, it still sounds the same.
Oh, that's weird.
We can definitely hear you.
Yeah,
it's just not clean.
I hope this headset's not going.
Well, while Jude figures that out, Pete, what's going on with you?
Sorry about that, guys.
Well, my microphone is working the same as it's always worked. I've got fancy schmancy headsets on here, so I appear not to be having any technical issues, except I can't talk.
Yeah, it's been a busy week. Jude, what have you been up to? I haven't seen you in a while.
I've been working, but things are kind of they were really busy for a while, and they kind of slowed down, and now I'm kind of in this weird little lull. So I'm just doing like some side projects, things that I've always wanted to kind of do on a personal level. I've been kind of working with now, just to kind of keep the momentum going with what I do for a living, which is video production. So just been editing some stuff that are kind of pet projects I've never gotten to.
Cool. Peter, I love your tapestry, Pete.
Oh yeah, I'm down in my basement, and there's just a mountain of crap back there. So I hung up a bed sheet, so it looks a little less crappy.
Nice.
One of these days, I'll have something, probably a green screen or something up there, so I can at least look like I'm in the TARDIS or something.
There you go.
Back at Moe's Tavern or something.
Oh yeah, you used to be at Moe's Tavern, right? So we've been away for a couple of
I know.
And
oh boy, yes we have.
Well, we changed our look and our mission, if you will.
We have a cool roll-in video too that I guess you should show them at some point.
Yeah, I thought I had that loaded too, but apparently I don't.
But there's this really cool roll-in video that we'll show you sometime.
Well, you know what? It'll be on the end, because I see it all in the thumbnail for the ending. Yeah. I was too busy fighting with my damn mixer,
Yeah, speaking of graphics, who did the graphics for that?
Pedro.
Did you, Pete? It's really good.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, I think it gives it, we have a classier look.
Ah, crap. Yeah. Hold on. Not COVID.
Ooh, you should mute when you do that. Oh! Share with the rest of us.
Not COVID. So I was sneezing all over this guy in the Yahoo ad.
Yeah, you should mute next time.
Sorry.
We'll be away. So while we were away, this happened. Eddie Van Halen.
Oh man, yeah.
And, I know Jude and I were pretty bent.
Yeah, I had a lot of. When I was probably about 13, 14 years old, my mother took me to Brian's Guitars in New Haven, and she said, we should really get you involved in playing an instrument. Your brother plays piano. Let's get you on board with something. And we walked around the music store, and I picked up a Yamaha it looked like a Strat, but it was a Yamaha RGZ guitar, and it was kind of smaller so that, a kid can play on it. And growing up in my neighborhood, if you can pull off any opening riff from a Van Halen song, you had so much street or town credibility. People knew who you were. So the one riff I cannot play as well or play exactly like Eddie Van Halen is the opening from Ain't Talking About Love. For some odd reason, I cannot pull that riff off. But
really,
I just can't do it.
It's funny you mentioned that, because before we came on, I actually my nephew made me aware of there's a South Park episode from season, I got the box right here, 17, I think it was, where they have these three religions, the Israelis and the Muslims, and I forgot the other one, they're Christians maybe, they're all fighting, and their symbols all morph into the Van Halen VH, and they bring Van Halen out, and it unites them.
That's hilarious.
It was hilarious. And
there are wings before woo wings.
Right, yeah, and they were using Ain't Talking About Love as the song, and they have all these live video cut-ins of the people going, hey, it was
that's hilarious.
Leave it to Matt and Trey.
Yeah. But it's kind of funny, like, growing up around that era of Iron Maiden, Megadeth, Metallica, Van Halen, even though they were earlier than those metal bands, Eddie Van Halen was still this guy that, like, everybody wanted to sound like him if you were into metal. I mean, you could play a Metallica song, you could try to play a Megadeth song, you could try to play a Judas Priest song, but if you could play Eddie Van Halen, you were considered like a whole nother level. So, like I said, if you could play like some of Eruption, not even like maybe just a couple taps of Eruption, people just thought you were a good guitar god. You were like the talk of the town if you were a guitar player,
Well, you weren't alone. Actual established rock bands in the LA scene all scrambled to find their Eddie Van Halen.
Right.
You had every band that came out, from 1981 or 82 through 89 had an Eddie Van Halen knockoff.
Yeah.
It's funny. I've been going, when he first died, I would watch these YouTube videos. I'd end up going down these rabbit holes, and they'd have these like reaction videos, and they're young kids, tweens or 10-year-olds, and they're watching his guitar solo from the New Haven concert and hearing him for the first time. And it's just awesome to watch young people now discover him for the first time, because it reminds you of the first time you heard him, and
right. The first time I heard him is probably the same as everybody did. I was in my friend Eddie Husted's bedroom, and he said, hey, do you want to listen to a song called Eruption? It's just all guitar and drums. And I said, sure. And the minute he put it on, that's probably what influenced me partially when I was at Brian's music store and to play guitar, because I was like, I want to learn how to do that. And I was a huge Iron Maiden fan. That was like my first, but I always, first time I heard Eruption, it was like, I didn't even know what he was playing on. I was like, is that a guitar?
Yeah, nobody could figure that out. Yeah.
Like, I need to see what he's doing. And back then there was no YouTube, so you just heard it, but you didn't know what the hell he was. I didn't know he was tapping. I had no clue what
Right. Nobody knew about that finger tapping.
Right.
Nobody knew how he did that.
So he was a unique musician that broke the boundaries of if you were into hard rock or metal. And I think no one's, just like Jimi Hendrix, no one's ever came close to sounding like Eddie Van Halen. And if you tried, you were kind of a poser.
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head too, that him and Jimi Hendrix were true pioneers of the instrument.
Right. No one can sound like them.
No.
People can try to, but you just can't do it.
And just the whole idea that he built that Frankenstrat himself. Mm-hmm. He wanted a certain sound, and he took a Gibson and he took a Fender, and he chiseled them together and he glued them together, and he figured out how to make this weird sound, get the harmonics he wanted out of this instrument that he couldn't buy off the shelf.
Now that I didn't know.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
It's crazy. There's a great video. He did a talk at a college about 5 years ago. It was up in Rochester or Buffalo.
Yeah,
find it on YouTube.
Yes.
And he tells exactly how he made it. As far as putting even paraffin wax under the pickups because they were vibrating. So he was putting paraffin wax and putting them around the pickups to give it a more sustained sound. And just a lot of it was because he didn't have any money. So he the body and the neck were like $80 and $50. They were going to throw the body out because it had wood knots in it, and he said, "How much you want?" $50. Took it.
And what's funny is that another reason why he built his own guitar is because he said every time he went to a music store, he always felt like every neck that he played on, his hand just wasn't conforming to it. You know, 'cause you always want to play a guitar that fits your hands because everybody has different size hands. So he found the neck that worked for him, but it was a separate body that didn't go with that body, and he just merged the two.
Merged the two together with a chisel and glue. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy, and the stuff he invented, like the using the volume knob to get the harmonics in it, that would sound like a violin, you know, because he was just turning the knob up and down, tap the strings, and just incredible. And the soundtrack of our lives. I mean, we grew up listening to it, you know.
Well, it also depends on what part of Van Halen, what era that you really fell in love with. I still enjoy the David Lee Roth years. I know you guys maybe like the Sammy years.
I like them both as two separate bands. I like them both. They're two separate bands to me.
They are two separate bands. You're right. The sound is completely dramatically different.
Yeah, it does the songwriting style, just the approach to songwriting. I think because with Diamond Dave, it was all about parties and having a good time, and Sammy brought a more mature kind of a look at the whole thing. But either way, they both had this pretty much the same amount of hits, and you got two great bands out of it. So I just thought this was interesting since we didn't have the opportunity to talk about it when it happened, but they're auctioning off two Frankenstrats at Julian's Auctions in Beverly Hills.
Oh wow.
And they estimate each guitar for $40 to $80K.
Yeah.
Which I think is a little low, to be honest with you, because they said here farther down in these pop-ups, Kurt Cobain, these ads. Come on, I just saw it. Here it is. At their last auction, they had a guitar of Kurt Cobain sell for $6 million. And look, we love Kurt Cobain, and he was a great musician as well. But this guy, he changed rock and roll. And
well, it's really kind of sad. Speaking of Kurt Cobain's death and just other rock stars that have, obviously have passed away in the last decade, this affected me probably the most because I feel like we're just running out of rock and rollers, and I think I think we're getting to that phase now where music is going to drastically change into something completely different. When back in the day, or if I could say back in the day, 25 years ago, when you turned on MTV, it was predominantly rock, and then it did have its hip hop segment. But now, and no one watches MTV. Obviously, I don't know what MTV is doing now, but now everything is leaned more towards hip hop. I guess female vocals, and I don't know, some type of rap. But it's stuff I hate to say this because I want to sound like my parents, but I just cannot relate to it at all. And when Eddie Van Halen passed away, it felt like the music died. What's that song? Is it John McClane? Who sang that song? When Richie Valens, Big Bopper, and Buddy Holly died, he wrote that song about them.
Right.
American Pie. That's kind of how I felt. I was like, when Eddie Van Halen died, I was like, oh my God, like, what's left?
I know. And, Van Halen hadn't really done anything in the last 10 years, but it was still, we knew he was sick. There were rumors all last year that cancer had come back. People were seeing him out and about, and he looked horrible. And I actually saw a quick video with Gene Simmons that ran into him, and he said he didn't want to say anything. He's like, you see him, and he comes running up. He's like, "Hey, Gene," and he's like, I didn't want to ask about cancer. He's like, "What do you do?" "Hey, how's cancer?" And Gene's like, "Well, I'm formulating something to say." He goes, "Hey, did you hear? Cancer, man. What a bummer, huh? What are you gonna do? See ya." And he walks away. And Gene said that's him. He was just, and that's the thing. Watching those kids watch him play that solo, they all come to the same conclusion. And what's great too is watching like rap guys watch him. And they all come to the same conclusion: is look how much fun he's having. Look how much he enjoys what he does. And I think that's what I always felt whenever I watched Eddie Van Halen. He looked like he was just having the time of his life.
Oh yeah, he was always smiling.
And he's just so smooth. Like the guitar was part of his body. He was just in perfect synchronization with that thing.
Well, I'm hoping for young generations there might be a resurgence in guitar playing, because I know I've read articles in the last couple of years where guitar sales have been at an all-time low because kids don't want to play guitar.
They don't want to play instruments. You use a laptop. Yeah.
So it is kind of sad that guitar playing at that level or that popularity is kind of, considered your father's music.
It's sad. The circle of life, man. We are now, we're the generation going, wow, back in the, you kids, you missed out on.
You don't know what real music is. Back in my day.
Sadly, they don't, because it's amazing how many young people have never seen or heard this guy.
Well, the thing is that I have, I hate to say this, and I don't mean this in a disrespect to any artist that's popular now that I don't even know of. Maybe maybe a 20-year-old knows and I don't know, but I don't find music today musicianship. I find it entertainment. I don't think there's a certain level. I mean, again, I'm not dissing. I don't want to sound like an old fogey here. But
too late.
Yeah,
you can't replicate Eddie Van Halen, but if you want to play a hip hop song or something that's pretty popular today, all you need to get is a beatbox machine and a couple buttons, and you could probably come up with something very similar to what's produced today.
Go into GarageBand and do it,
Right, but what I'm saying is that when someone picks up a guitar and they play something and it's so impressive and so unique, that's not something you just pick up and figure out. That's like years and hours of practice to get your own sound, and it's a skill that you involve.
It is a skill. I've tried 3 different times in my life to learn guitar. I gave up all 3 times.
There's a great guy I follow on YouTube who I think everybody should be following if you're a music fan. It's Rick Beato.
Rick Beato. He's great.
Beato. Yeah. I keep on saying people's names long time. It's Don McLean did that song, that did the music then. Rick Beato, right?
Yeah.
And his YouTube channel is just amazing because he covers every era of music, and he will cover certain songs and why they're so good and why they got so popular and why they're catchy. And it's like having a really cool music teacher. And it's just, I don't know, I'm just addicted to his videos.
I am too. And what's great about him is he's a record producer and he's got this amazing ear for music. I watched one of his videos last week where it was called, like the top 10 hits on Spotify. And he listens to the top 10 hits, and they're all these pop mechanical sounding auto-tune travesties to me. And he sits there, he has a guitar in his lap, and he picks up the chord progressions. He picks up on the fly, first time hearing them. And he picked out of all 10 of them have the same chords. They have the same drum machine. They have the same auto-tune. It's so formulaic. And, but he did say they're well produced as a producer. He thought they were very, very well done. He's like, but there's just this repetition. There's nothing creative about them at all.
Yeah.
In the lyrics, and most of them are cringe. So,
he was crying when he actually found out. He did a video after Eddie passed away, and I guess I kind of knew him. I don't know how close he was with him, but he was almost in tears at the end of it. And obviously Eddie Van Halen is a respected musician. He's a respected person in that industry, and it is sad that unfortunately these things happen. And
yep.
But at least we all lived through it, which is amazing.
I wouldn't trade it for anything.
No, I wouldn't either. I mean,
we grew up at a great time, and music. Like I said, with the young people who never heard of him or heard his music before, but yet, when I was their age, Jimi Hendrix was long dead, but I knew who he was and heard his music. It's just, it's a whole different thing now. It's sad. But before we move on, the greatest thing Eddie Van Halen ever accomplished, in my opinion, was convincing George McFly that he was Darth Vader and he's going to melt his brain, and it changed the whole course of Marty McFly's future.
Exactly.
It was all from Edward Van Halen.
You know that guitar solo is not from any song. Eddie actually was writing that for something else, and it didn't happen. And then I think he was doing a soundtrack for another movie, and then they took that and used that in that
Right.
scene.
You're going to find out. I think, he's been in his studio just laying down tracks for years and years and years. And don't be surprised if as early as a year from now, this giant box set of unheard Eddie Van Halen stuff comes out.
Yeah.
I would
probably right.
Not be surprised.
And I feel really bad for his son. His son,
Wolfie,
obviously in the 2006 and 7, and I think they did a couple of the tours after that when they came back with David Lee Roth, and I don't know the situation with Michael Anthony, but he got pretty much kicked to the curb, and Wolfgang, obviously his son.
Yeah, but Mike's with Sammy. They're doing fine. So
yeah. I mean, I guess there's slight bad blood about it, but then again, hey, what father wouldn't want to play with their son on stage? That's just amazing.
Well, and then it made it 3 Van Halens. It was truly Van Halen, right?
Right. So I just feel bad for his son. I think his son's, I don't know how old he is now.
He's in his 20s. He's not very old.
Man. Yeah. And playing with your dad on stage like that every night for a couple of years, and
which Eddie says in that college interview too, that his biggest accomplishment, he said, was playing on stage with my son for the first time was the greatest thing ever. So,
I mean, I don't have kids, but Keith, you have a daughter, so maybe that's something. If you can do something with your kid, that must be a great experience.
It would be amazing. It would be amazing. There's just so many feelings you would have. Not only is it your offspring and they have this talent, but it's that spanning of generations thing. You're kind of handing it off. You are now the caretaker of this property. So, hey, you never know. Maybe Wolfie will keep going and do something. Who knows? But there will never be another Edward. That's for damn sure.
No, that's the day that music died, unfortunately. But again, maybe this might be a resurgence for new music to try to sound a little bit more like, I don't know.
Maybe
I'm hoping.
Maybe
I'm hoping
for
the
first time, we'll maybe learn some guitar. Truly inspirational. This happened today, and this.
Yeah, I read about
this hurt. Is not good.
No. Yeah, the dude. We talked about Eddie Van Halen when he walked up to Gene and was like, "Hey, man, cancer, bummer." And, Jeff Bridges seems like the same kind of guy. He says here, as the dude would say, new shit has come to light. I've been diagnosed with lymphoma. Although it is a serious disease, I feel fortunate to have a great team of doctors, and the prognosis is good. I'm starting treatment, and I'll keep you posted on my recovery. So,
is my mic still bad?
Chadwick Boseman. I mean, 2020 just does not stop, right?
No, it does not. I actually had a chance to perform with Jeff Bridges on stage.
Right. That's right. I forgot about that.
I used to be a puppeteer, wiggling Muppet style little dollies, and I worked on
in his former life.
Yeah. Some of the many weird careers that I've had. I was part of a TV show, a TV pilot about superhero vegetables. And I played a character named Susie Sweet Pea. And she sounded just like this. I got a lot of mileage out of that voice. It scares people like crazy, I love it.
And you can still do it.
It rubs the lotion on its skin or else it gets the hose again. But what happened is they did a live show in DC. Now it was for a charity event. Basically, Mr. Bridges was a part of it. They would keep schools open during the summer so that inner city kids could still get something to eat. Program like that, and we were told initially that Mr. Bridges is not going to take the stage, and then he sure enough did, and so I actually got the chance to riff with Jeff Bridges on stage, and I I'm surprised I managed to get out what I managed to get out, because
awesome,
it was I've got pictures here somewhere, but it was definitely an amazing experience. He touched me.
Are there pictures of that online anywhere?
I don't know about online, but I definitely have some on my phone somewhere.
Oh yeah, those are. I remember when you did that. That was what, probably 10 years ago now.
Easily.
Yeah, that was very.
Yeah, it's definitely creeping on 10 years. But this is just sad. I mean, I really hope I hope he has a speedy recovery, obviously. But
hope it's a recovery period. But yeah. What a shame. I mean, he's only 70 years old. And
yeah. Is my audio a little better?
No, it's the same. He definitely seems like one of the good guys, you know.
Oh yeah, he was just extremely friendly, extremely personable. You know, after the show was over, it was like, hey, come on, let's get a picture with the Super Sprouts. Come on.
Yeah, I remember the picture. You had the carrot and
carrot and the sweet pea.
Sweet pea, yeah, it was cool.
Colby Carrot and Susie Sweet Pea.
Yeah, I think what was cool was you didn't call me and go, "Oh my God, he was such a tool." And
no, he was so personable. He was great.
Well, that's awesome because he comes across that way, you know. And there's always that thing they say, you know, be careful, you don't want to meet your heroes or whatever. And,
yeah, exactly. No, we were expecting somebody just to kind of, you know, show up, wave, and then walk away. But no, he wanted the pictures. He came up on stage and was riffing with the puppets, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I know how that is sometimes when you're working with the famous person. They're in and out faster than, you know, you can blink an eye.
Yeah.
So, well, you know, Mr. Bridges, I know you're watching, Jeff. So get better. Clearly, he's watching us.
Yes.
All right.
Oh, you seem to have lost Jude.
Yeah, he's checking his mic. There's something wrong with it. He just doesn't sound right. He usually is really clean, you know?
Yeah.
I think it's the input. It's not. It's going to the computer input. It's not going to his headset input. So,
you think we would have checked this before we went live?
What are you going to do? Way.
What are you going to do?
Look, I was having technical issues right up to the. It's not right for me either. I'm having real trouble hearing, but I don't understand how I leave a mixer untouched and it's been working perfectly fine for weeks, and then all of a sudden it decides it doesn't want to do that anymore. So
ghost in the machine, man.
Yeah. Geez, I'm trying to figure out where to go while we wait for him. Here we go. This is harmless. Let's go over here. Digital bits.
We're looking at your digital bits here.
So apparently, there were some accidents this week with.
Do tell.
The Flintstones.
Okay.
And Friday the 13th disc exchange program from Shout.
Oh, do tell.
Well, you know, I didn't go too far into this. I just happened to see that Shout Factory has an issue. There are errors on Friday the 13th Part 3, Jason Goes to Hell, The Final Friday, and Jason X. So they have 3 disc issues. So they're doing an exchange program with that.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. I don't know what the Flintstones Blu-ray error is.
I mean, it's cool that the Flintstones aren't on Blu-ray. I wonder if you get all of the Flintstones, like their smoking commercials.
You do.
Do you?
I read a review of it. They said it's kind of uneven quality-wise, but still looks better than it ever has. But the Big Bank Robbery is missing music and sound effects. 1 episode.
What?
Yeah. So, and as the dude would say, if other problems come to light, man, let them know. So, you know, this happened with Wrath of Khan. I got the Wrath of Khan Director's Edition, which only had 4 extra minutes or what have you.
Yeah,
and there was a weird edit at the beginning, and I remember they're going, you know, when Kirstie Alley says they're going to go into the save the Kobayashi Maru.
Yeah.
And Sulu warns her, and she goes, "I'm aware of my duties." And
oh, that's right. That's right.
I swear he turns around and faces her, right? And I'm watching the Blu-ray, and it never cuts to him. Like you hear him say it, but his back's to her, and I'm like, that
doesn't seem
remember
right.
this wrong? Then I'm thinking, I psyched myself. I'm like, oh, I think he turns around later in the movie, and I've just got these scenes mixed up. And nope, it was screwed up. So they did an exchange program, and I got another one.
So I must have gotten mine after all that.
Yeah, it was
mine's fine.
The first batch, and I had pre-ordered it, so it shipped straight to my house.
Sure.
So it had a certain barcode, and if you had that barcode, you had the bad batch. And I didn't need to read the barcode. I knew, because I knew it when I watched it, that it wasn't edited properly. So this
stupid
is cool,
Demo Rathacon. Jude's back.
Jude is back.
Bring
him back in.
There he is.
Can you hear me better now?
Oh,
there we go.
I don't know what I did. I just literally just refreshed and.
Yeah, no, you sound great now.
Ghost in the Machine, man.
Ghost in the Machine. So Bill Hunt would be awesome to get on someday when we're a little bigger. This guy is just great, and he did an episode 2-3 years ago now on the 430 movie, and he just went through the history of home video, and it was just a great listen.
Oh yeah.
And,
I mean,
do you go to this site, Jude? Digital Bits?
I don't, but I do know of this Friday the 13th collection because our friends over at Pinal Comics,
who are live right now, by the way,
are live with us.
Competing.
They're live. John bought that set. I actually been watching them. They're all on Netflix. I think all of them are on Netflix. And I got through 1, 2, 3, which was 3 was the worst, and I got up to 4 last night, which is the episode. I'm sorry, they're like episodes. It's the movie with Corey Feldman in it, which I think is the final chapter. So I think they were supposed to send it off after that movie, and of course, slasher films at the time were bringing so much revenue in,
right?
And it's just it's got every single horror trope imaginable. Obviously the virgin always lives, but if you have sex in those movies, consider yourself
you're goner.
You're dead.
Yeah.
Or sheriff.
We should crash their stream after and ask him if he has the 3 bad discs here that need to be returned.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. But Bill Hunt's great. You can come here. He has a release calendar, so you can see what came out this week.
I highly recommend going and trying to get through the Friday the 13th. So my brother did, and I just think that especially around Halloween, it's just.
Yeah, I've been trying to watch horror movies. I haven't had much time, and sometimes I sit down to do it and I fall asleep.
Well, I also recently watched the Sam Raimi. I don't think he directed it; he produced it. The remake of the
Evil Dead,
Poltergeist.
Oh, he did that?
Really?
Yeah. Well, he produced it. Yeah. I only watched it because his name was on it, and it was pretty bad.
Yeah, I watched it when it came out because it had Sam Rockwell in it.
Yeah, it's Sam Rockwell.
That's right. That's right. He's in it.
Yeah.
I was thinking, wasn't it like Ryan Reynolds or somebody famous in that?
No.
A lot of people say that you remind them of Tim Roth, Jude, but you also remind me of Sam Rockwell.
My favorite movie with him in it is Moon. Definitely watch that.
Oh, that's a great movie.
Great science fiction movie.
He's great in anything, and that's why I watched the Poltergeist.
Well, I felt he wasn't into that part in Poltergeist. I felt like he was just kind of like going through it. Like he actually
everyone felt like they were just going.
It was like they just hired me. I showed up on set. I'm just going to deliver my lines. I'm not going to put much into it because he sounded like just this like slacker kind of guy that just didn't care. He didn't really. He didn't put much into that role at all.
I'm thinking that they were all of the mentality that you can't do this to a classic like that.
Yeah. But the check cleared.
The check cleared, and it wasn't good, but it wasn't offensive either. I didn't really hate it.
It's forgettable.
It's forgettable.
Yes.
But I just watched the original last week, and I put that in a collection of films that has not aged well, because I just laugh at it. However, it's a great film. It's a great film, technically and performance-wise. And it's actually had a really good story. It's just not scary anymore.
No.
At all. It's comical.
No.
But It's to me now. It's more of a sci-fi than a horror because I like the story and I like the whole lore around it, but it just doesn't scary at all.
Oh, I mean, I watch all newer scary movies, but you know what the problem is that a lot of scary movies now all have teenagers in them, and it's jump scares and everything's artificial, meaning that everything that you've already been through, every jump scare, every kind of like a guy looks, there's nothing there, and then the camera pans, and then he looks back and it's there. Like you could sort of predict exactly how everything's going to happen in the scary parts because it's just the same recycled shit.
Right, and
it sells. Unfortunately, that's what sells. Shit sells. And
to me, the only real innovation in the last 20 years in the horror genre was the found footage thing they did, but then they beat that to death. So,
with the paranormal.
Yeah,
well, it started with the Blair Witch Project. It was like, is this real? Is this and say what you will about it, but it kicked off this whole copycat thing for years. And years.
Well, maybe that's why zombie films became so popular. It was just something different,
Zombies were the new vampires. In the 90s, it was the vampire craze. And then in the aughts, you had the zombie craze. But
anyway,
I'm not a big horror guy, but at Halloween time, I will not watch.
Oh yeah, they're fun. It's like a roller coaster.
I'm using all my restraint because I want to watch some James Bond, and I'm holding it till November because I just got to watch spooky stuff. I did on this.
What's this?
It's too expensive, is what it is. I'm going to wait until it's like $10.99 next year. It's a collection of William Shatner documentaries.
Really?
I thought it was it's another one of these like all the pilot episodes from all the shows with the captains, and no, it's William Shatner's documentary. So you have the captains where he sits down with all the captains, including Chris Pine, and then there's
really interesting.
Then there's a docu-series with additional interview footage. Then there's Chaos on the Bridge, which is really good.
Oh, that's the next gen documentary.
And then Get a Life, Shatner's love letter to the fans.
Tell me you guys saw For the Love of Spock on Netflix.
Oh, wasn't that great?
I watched it twice. That's how much I loved it.
For the Love of Spock? I don't have Netflix.
Oh my god, it is so good. His son
get a free trial and watch it.
Oh god, yeah. His son decided to. I think he was involved.
Adam Nimoy.
I think he directed it.
Gotcha.
Him and Rod Roddenberry did it.
Right. It's amazing, and it's a personal. His son did it in a way where it's a personal thing for him. So he talks about his tension with his father because he never saw his father much, especially when he was on the set of Star Trek and doing other films. And Leonard Nimoy, believe it or not, was pretty much a workaholic when it came to acting. He took so many roles. And so I don't know. It's just you got to watch it. It's probably my favorite Star Trek documentary.
Oh, it's fantastic, and it whips by. Like I couldn't when it was over. I'm like, that was 2 hours.
Yeah,
it just whips by. And
I watched it like a month later again. I loved it so much.
Yeah. So let's see. We did that. Let's do this.
Oh boy, we got a soft spot for Keith here.
We gotta wait for
you guys are on your own. I haven't watched any of the second season of Boys, so
all right, we'll wait for Edson then, because Edson watched.
Yeah, I just I don't know. I just haven't got it.
We can talk about Star Trek.
No, they don't do this. No, don't.
Am I the only one that's watching Lower Decks? I'm actually trying to get through them. They're getting harder to get through, but I've been fighting them.
Hey, I have a special message from Alex Kurtzman to you.
Oh God, here we go.
Okay, about this.
The goal is not really to promote Star Trek, but to promote these organizations and to use our platform, not really to promote Star Trek.
Yeah, that's about right.
Star Trek.
That's about right.
It's not about Star Trek. How could you say? I mean, that's old news. He said that at San Diego Comic-Con, but it still amazes me, and that's going to be one that we play over and over and over whenever we talk about Star Trek, because I don't want his grubby little fingers on this.
Here's my theory. My theory is that eventually people are going to get sick of this shit. They're going to be out, and then it's going to be like Star Wars. They're just going to take away all that crap and not call it canon anymore and just start from something else.
Well,
I'm hoping.
The guy's got a contract for 3 more years, and he said the other day that he's got a 7-year plan. Yeah, because like every high school kid has a 7-year plan. The truth is he has no plan. And to me, when I saw this the other day, I didn't even flinch, because why not? I mean, let's look at what they've done. So they launch a new show, Discovery, and immediately sandwich it between original or Enterprise and original Trek, and this way they know that if they get in trouble, they can use original Trek as a bailout, right?
Yep.
So they do. They bring in Spock and Pike. They fly in the Enterprise, and let's use stuff that people know. And then they go and make Star Trek Picard, and immediately jump on more member berries. Let's just stick with something that people know. And then they do the cartoon Lower Decks, and they start bringing in people we know, Q and Riker, and then they go and announce that Janeway is going to be on the other cartoon on Nickelodeon. Like they and now this, like they are so creatively bankrupt. They have no freaking idea what they're doing. They are clearly people who are desperate to save whatever contract they have, because they're failing miserably.
Yeah, and when the numbers finally have come out, and the fact that Discovery is now finally on broadcast, you can actually see real numbers, because they haven't been showing you numbers at all. They've just been saying, "Trust us, they're the most popular things in the world."
Until the ratings show you Discovery Encore flies low for CBS.
Yeah. It's like in the hundreds of thousands of people as opposed to millions.
I was trying to find it. I know the Canadian numbers came out for season 3's premiere of Discovery, and they had an audience of somewhere around 435,000.
Oof.
With the 30th, they only chart the top 30, and the 30th rated show had 900 and something thousand.
I have a question. And I don't know if this is back in the day. I thought when they tried to get a pilot for a TV show, they would actually show it to a small audience of people in different demographics and different age groups. And I thought that before it even went on television, the pilot, they would show it to a small group and they would watch it, and then they'd give their feedback on whether or not it was total shit or they enjoyed it. And do they do that anymore with TV shows, or they just produce crap? People are like, let's just put it on.
I don't know anymore.
I just think
did they used to do that? Because I remember back in the day,
they definitely used to. I was involved in a show called a show for Comedy Central called The Fuzz. It was another puppeteering show, and that went through focus groups like crazy. And first in New York, and then out in LA. And it got that close. It got that close to getting picked up. But that was shown to focus groups. And as far as nowadays,
I don't know. The closest I ever got to selling a show was NBC almost bought a show from us in 2013. Paul and I, we got to rung 9 of 10. They greenlit a pilot, and then the suits didn't want to cut the check for it, and they pulled it back. They put it in turnaround. So that's the closest I've ever been. And who knows? I mean, that was in 2013. It was kind of pre-streaming, if you will. So it might have still gone to a focus group, but not with the streaming wars. I think they're all just competing for content. They're just all.
That's what I think. I think it's just content. Who cares if it's not good? Just release it, because it's people are going to watch it.
Yeah, like the joke from South Park about you're welcome to Netflix. You're greenlit. How can I help you?
You're right. I just Star Trek Discovery is weird to me though, because it's the most expensive show on air, and it's just tanking. I mean, the ratings, season 3 premiere in Canada gets 435,000 eyeballs, down from 2.2 million 2 years ago.
Right.
With season 1. It's just, they're running it on CBS for free, and they did a 0.2 demo. Like, they had game show reruns smoking it. Big Brother and Love Island and Match Game and look at all these things, feuds.
But Star Trek's always been different from Star Wars and Battleship Battleship.
Battlestar Galactica.
Thank you. I think a lot of those shows are completely different, and Star Trek always had a way of dealing with things more intellectually. Like, for instance, I just got done watching the episode the other night where it's the Romulan episode where they're the Romulan.
Next Gen?
What's that?
Next Gen?
No,
Original?
Yeah, where the Romulan ship blows up the outpost.
God,
and it's cloaked. And that's the first time, obviously that's, it's like, oh, wow, they had a cloaked ship. And then finally they tap into their video and it turns out that it looks like Spock. And then one of the guys.
Yeah, Balance of Terror is the name of it.
Right. But what's funny about that.
They had the bigot on the bridge.
That's right. They had a bigot on the bridge. And so, but the way they dealt with that, because all of a sudden that guy, I guess, fought in some Romulan war, or his parents fought in some Romulan war or something. And that was the bloodiest, I guess, war in, I guess, Star Trek history, I guess, between the Romulans and Star Federation. But the way they did it was intelligent, and how they did it. As the episode progressed, you see that he's really treating Spock a different way, and then Captain Kirk's like, okay, well, listen, you got to deal with this, or you're off my bridge, kind of thing. But it wasn't like, he punched him in his face. There was no violence. It was just kind of like they dealt with it in a smart way. That's always been Star Trek. Blowing up shit, punching people in the face, swearing, being uncivilized is not Star Trek.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think and people like me can't relate to anything that's not that formula.
Well,
right. I mean, I don't know if I'm going in this direction.
You've hit it right on the head, and unfortunately, that's they're more than welcome to deal with modern day issues. I mean, that's what Star Trek was doing way back in the '60s, and that's what all the right up through Enterprise was doing that. But the subtlety is gone.
Right.
It's it's just we hate Trump. Yes, we know. It's
really overt now.
We get it.
They've just added non-binary characters to the new season, and they're referred to as they and them. And that's and they're oh, look at how stunning and brave we are. We've added these two non-binary characters to the cast, and it's like, you're not stunning and brave. Star Trek's been doing that forever. They've had gender neutral characters for a long time. They just never slammed you over the head with it.
No, they stuck to
go to another planet, or they would, be an alien, and then in dissect the issue from both sides of the aisle, the conservative and the liberal side.
Oh, and, I mean,
and look at it objectively. Now it's just, as Pete said, it's all their own personal identity politics just being shoved into the show.
Yeah.
Well, what's the best trio that deals with problems in Star Trek? You got Bones, Spock, and Captain Kirk. They're all when they get into a situation, Bones is always the more emotional one out of the group, and so he's got a completely different point of view, which doesn't coincide with Spock's at all, because Spock's extremely logical, and then Captain Kirk is sort of in the middle.
Exactly.
So you have different personalities that all have different views, but yet, like normal people, they come together and they solve an issue based on the differences. They kind of like try to balance it out, right?
Subtlety.
Red Letter Media released a new video this morning. It's part 2 of Rich and Mike's favorite Next Gen episodes. And they played a great clip in addressing the kind of the political situation we exist in now, where it's, we think this, and if you don't agree with it, you're an ist or a phobe, or, all kinds of things. Right. A Yahtzee, whatever you want to call it. And it's a great scene where Captain Picard basically brings this neoconservative on, right? And completely disagrees with the guy. And it looks like they're going to, as Jude said, punch each other in the face at some point. But Picard is a calm diplomat who listens. And by the end, they shake hands and Picard says to him, I think we can both learn a lot from each other. And exactly, that's gone in America now. That's just gone. And that's the problem with New Trek. It's just not what it used to be. It doesn't even seem like there's any intelligence behind it. And there's definitely no adherence to science fact anymore. You know, what Star Trek was big on was consulting with actual astrophysicists and people at NASA and all this kind of stuff, because they wanted it grounded in reality. Yes, it's fantasy. Yes, it's spectacular. Yes, it's science fiction, and they're going exploring space and meeting aliens. But at the core, they wanted to make sure everything was plausible. And now you have this idiot Kurtzman and his hack writing staff putting things like space sonar into the show. There's no sound in space.
They actually have space sonar. Is that what they called it?
Sonar is one of the things they use
in Star Wars. They do, because everything.
Yeah, Battlestar Galactica, they had it. They just never explained it. They, you know, it's like, greatest contact. You know?
Right. It's science fantasy. This is science fiction. This is supposed to be, you know, this is supposed to be potentially real in the future. So it's that kind of stuff. And not, you know, I just watched a review. Doomcock did a review of season 3, episode 1. And he just talks about how, like, what's her face? Mikey Spock flies around in a suit that does warp speed and stuff. And she's like warping around in this battle suit or something. And like
it's when just, Princess Leia got blown out of the starship and she goes
hit by a ship. A ship hits her, crashes into her, and they land on a planet, and there's nothing wrong with her. Like, it's just, that's the kind of shit Star Trek's become. Yeah, I don't even want to watch it. I heard that much, and I'm like, why would anybody watch this garbage?
Well, you know what? I always thought the show's strength was based on its characters. Like watching Odo and Quark
go at it. That was the new Spock McCoy. Yeah,
when they go at it, it's brilliant because they're like they have two wits, and they're just kind of, you know. I love that writing. I just love it. Like their characters never get along throughout the show, but yet you want to see them together.
Well, they have a mutual respect for one another, even though they completely disagree with each other. And it's awesome. In the last show when Odo leaves and he says, you know, doesn't even say goodbye to Quark, and Quark says, "That man's crazy about me." You know, like
it was written all over his back.
It was written all over his back. Just I got like goosebumps. You know, like the characters in Deep Space Nine, out of all the shows, were the best. I think they were the most well-rounded, thought out. They all had an arc, like even down to the second in command on the Cardassian ship. Like
this wonderful arc.
All had great arcs. And as much as I love Kirk, Spock, McCoy, Uhura, Scotty, yes, but Deep Space Nine was the only show out of all of them that took these characters on this journey. And
they were able to do more real world stuff.
Right. And it didn't just focus on the core characters. It took them all for the ride. So,
How did you guys feel when they put Worf in Deep Space Nine?
I love it because I love what they did to Worf. They really fleshed him out.
He's not the butt of the jokes like he is in the movies. You know, he's comic relief for some stupid reason.
Right. Because he's a cranky Klingon.
Okay.
But yeah, as much as I love Avery Brooks and the cast of this show, you know, you bring it back. You don't have Nog because you lost Aaron, and you don't have Odo because you lost Rene Auberjonois. So
this should not be done because his arc alone is going to get ruined, and they're just going to turn him into just some crotchety old man, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, what would you even do to this? They made him into a god. So you're just going to reduce him by bringing him back.
I think it's already been written. Why it doesn't need to be, you know, dug up. It's already sealed.
I agree. And if anybody was going to bring this show back, I would rather see it as a feature film and have Ronald D. Moore and Brennan Braga and those kind of guys work on it, not this crew. You get the Bad Robot Secret Hideout guys out.
Yeah, and they already screwed it up with Picard. They already fucked it up. So there's no turning back with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, what they did to Picard was just it's just. I mean, I forget. Was it one of the guys from Midnight's Edge? But basically, has said that he watched Picard and it basically ruined Next Gen for him.
Probably. I mean, that's. I couldn't go that far. I watched Picard and said, Yeah, this is like a cheap, bad reboot. Like, I couldn't even get upset with it. Like, I don't even consider it canon. It's just a joke to me because it's just poor. So, yeah, they ruined his character. I mean, what I did have to do, I got 3 or 4 episodes in, and then I had to go watch some next gen.
Kind of cleanse the palate.
Yeah, well, yeah, and it kind of shows you like, oh, that's what Picard.
Yeah, I mean, he's even a different character. Red Letter Media points out that he's even a different character in the movies. He's just some brainless action hero in the movies.
Yeah, yeah, he is.
They call him
First Contact. I mean, he's running around gunning down his own crew members.
Yeah.
And that's not Star Trek. And that's not Star Trek. That's
right.
That's not it.
But you know, in the defense of the creative staff and the writers of those movies, they are trying to appeal to a general audience, not just Trek. So you got to kind of choose your battles, right?
It's just like music, you know. You can't. It has to be true to the heart. It can't be. If it's not true to the heart, then just don't bother. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's called the cash grab, which is all I see coming from CBS right now with Star Trek.
I mean,
they're hurting for money, so cash in whatever they got.
I feel like there's people that go into certain things knowing that it's crap, but they just do it because it's work, it's content, and they just go through with it. They're like, yeah, it's not that good, but you know what? Who cares?
I think the problem is you have the problem with Disney, you have the problem with CBS, and you know, not so much with Doctor Who, even though the same shit's going on over there because
definitely
never really changed hands. But in the case of Disney and CBS buying these 2 IPs of Star Wars and Star Trek, they just felt like it seems to me they feel like all we have to do is we buy it, and all we have to do is stamp the name on shit, and everyone's gonna buy it. They also don't feel like they need us anymore. They want new fans. They don't want the same old fans. We've had our time, and that's another mistake they make.
Right.
You know, I mean, for Kathleen Kennedy to actually say, "We had no source material for Star Wars." I mean,
you were giving a platter. Here. It's all here on a platter. Here, just take it. I mean,
not only all the years of, you know, you had the 2 trilogies of films, but in the books, in the comics, and all that stuff. But George Lucas also said, "Hey, here's an outline for what I'd like to see happen." Thanks, George. Zam, right through the shredder. Yeah. And then to turn around and say that we have no source material, you know. And I've mentioned this before. I was listening to that episode of Inglorious Trexperts, and they had Manny Cotto on.
Manny Cotto.
Yeah, and he said he's been in the writing room where they say, "Yeah, don't do that Star Trek shit with our Star Trek."
You want to know a funny story? I was over a friend's house about 3 weeks ago, and I don't have cable, but when I was over her house,
Oh, do tell.
The Rise of Skywalker came on, right? This is the last one.
Ooh.
And we tried to watch it. We did watch it. I'm not saying it was one of those situations. We did watch it. But again, I think I saw it 3 times now, and even now I can't even tell you what the movie's about and what scene. Like I'm still totally confused why that movie cannot stick in my head, and I can't remember one scene from it. Like I remember bits and pieces, like maybe a frame, but I can't remember a whole sequence.
It goes from action set piece to action set piece.
Yeah, it plays like a video game. It is basically talk, action, lots of stuff happens, and talk. And
So
they go
boring.
from
Even a
one MacGuffin to
lightsaber
the
battle.
other.
To get to the next level, to get the MacGuffin, to get to the next level. And then along the way, you meet characters that don't ever come back, but they help you along the way. And
yeah.
It's like every time I watch that movie, it's like I have amnesia afterwards. I'm like, why can't this movie stick in my head?
Not to mention, it, like, you know, all 3 of them fight against each other, where you have the scene where Lando brings that whole fleet of ships at the end. I burst out laughing. Not only is it fucking stupid, because I thought the only way to get to Exegol was to get the little navigation thing. That was the only way to find it.
What do they call them?
The Wayfinder?
The Wayfinder. Is that what it was?
What do they used to call them?
The Wayfinder to go to Exegol. Like they spend the whole movie going out of the way to make sure you know that the only way they can find the planet is with that thing, and then Lando brings the whole fleet there.
Right.
But that aside, the previous movie said they were down to like 12 ships.
Yeah, and nobody cared. Yeah, we're sending our distress signal, but nobody cares.
And then he shows up with thousands.
Right.
It's so dumb.
I think, you know, when you play video games now, they have these things called fetch quests. Pretty much it's to keep a game in its longevity. You repeat the same quest, but you're actually retrieving an item. And then they're like, oh yeah, so you got to retrieve this, and that's basically what the whole movie was. It was just a fetch quest.
It really, what it was.
They were just getting items, and it was just like that's how they kept it going.
One MacGuffin, get you another MacGuffin, get you another MacGuffin, get you another MacGuffin, and just that's not writing, JJ. That's not writing.
It's horrible, and it just, I literally almost fell out of the theater seat when she took that knife and held it up to the cutout remains of the Death Star,
like the Goonies.
Which was in water. So it never, after all those years, it never settled or changed. It landed and stayed just like that so they can line up the knife, right? I was like, this has hit the all-time dumb shit mark for me. Like
those movies kind of remind me back in the day when you wanted something like a Nintendo or an Atari, and then your mom went out and bought like, I don't know, like a ColecoVision. And you were like, thanks, Mom. And you didn't want to get upset, but it wasn't what you really wanted.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was like you wanted Air Jordans, you know, like I want Nike Air Jordans, and your mom bought Adidas, and you're like,
it's like that Walmart Equate brand.
Nice.
Star Wars.
It's Star Wars from Aldi.
But you weren't upset about it, and then like when you got together with your friends, like everybody got like a Nintendo, and you were like, "Yeah, I got a ColecoVision," and they're like, "What?"
I got the Intellivision.
Yeah. That's basically
a great analogy. Like
that's basically the new Star Wars trilogy to me. Like it's like. Because we've all been there when you're ready to open that Christmas gift and you know what it is and you open it up and you're like, yeah, I wanted Transformers, not GoBots, Mom.
Right. You get Mega Blocks instead of Legos.
But anyway.
They're the same thing. No, they're not, Mom.
They're close enough, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
you said you wanted the car robot. I got you the car robot. What is it? What?
You just can't do it. You just can't have imitation. It's got to be the real thing. So that's my take on it.
Well, I mean, that seems to be the take on all these IPs we grew up loving. These franchises that are just being bludgeoned by
they just
creative hacks,
and disregard everything that comes before it. Doctor Who is extremely guilty of that, and they just completely disregard what came before it, show it no love, no respect, and just out the door it goes.
Well, and Star Trek, I mean, it's just it's sad, and I don't know, I think it's only going to get worse before it gets better. I don't know. I mean, I'm still, I try to play an optimist here, and I'm kind of hoping that Emma Watts will put her foot down. No Section 31, no Strange New Worlds, no Deep Space Nine 2. Just no. The answer is no. Just stop.
Yeah. You know what's really funny though? I have to say, people talk a lot about the Star Wars video games as if they're canon, and I think that's like a new avenue that a lot of franchises are going down, is doing video games, and they tell a different story.
Well, apparently that's where Palpatine came from. This whole Palpatine thing in the Rise of Skywalker was part of a video game,
right? There's like 3 that are really popular. I don't know. I haven't played them, but there's like a huge fan base for them because I collect the action figures. And sometimes they'll release a character, and I'm like, who the fuck is this? And everybody's like, oh my God, they're releasing Darth this guy and Darth that guy. And I'm like, who the hell are these people? And they're like sought after figures, and they were from the video game, which I don't know what they're talking about.
Sorry, I'm not going to buy a gaming system and play it to watch. What do they call those movies? What do they call those movies on a video game?
Well, they have cinematics, but you play it. Right.
Like, yeah, I don't. What the hell is that all about? So
it's a big thing.
Yeah.
It's and I just purchased Star Wars Squadrons. Did you guys see this? You got it. So
are you going to tell us what's in the next movie because you bought a video game?
No. I mean, it's complete. Well, there is a storyline to go with it, but this is the most realistic simulator for basically a TIE fighter, an A-wing, a Y-wing.
Oh, that's cool.
And it's actually like you could get an Oculus Rift and actually play and be in a dogfight with TIE fighters and stuff. And
Yeah, I hear that game's pretty cool.
It's only $40 on Steam, so I bought it. And I'll tell you, it's so immersive. It's great. And so I might buy VR just to say, yeah.
Damn.
I mean,
you can answer the question if a TIE fighter pilot can actually look to his left and right and see anything. Because they only got that one window on the front.
Right. It's got that honeycomb thing going on.
The wings on the side, like how do you navigate this stupid thing?
So I'll tell you what.
Anakin / Darth looked out and saw the Millennium Falcon coming.
When I get the VR, I will do a live stream on our channel, demonstrating and showing you what it's like. Because yeah, it's fun. It's every kid's dream back in when we were young to fly an actual TIE fighter, and then you could see everything, all the buttons and all the little controls and things blinking.
I actually heard the SJWs got upset about that. That allowing people to fly TIE fighters allows them to be Nazis. I mean Nazis. Did I say the N word? Yeah. There's a big kerfuffle a couple weeks ago about that.
Isn't the Imperial?
Why are you glorifying being a villain? Oh my god!
Everybody wants to be the bad guy.
Stop. Yeah.
Hey, people enlisted in the Imperial Army. Han Solo almost did. Remember?
No, that's right.
Not almost. He did.
He did. You're right. He did.
According to new lore, anyway. Yeah.
I actually thought that was fun. That was actually a fun spinoff. I like when he's in the trenches. He's covered in mud.
Great, more mud.
I like that movie. I'm not going to.
Yeah, that movie was actually that was a lot of fun. That was it, and it wasn't about space wizards, which was great.
Yeah,
exactly. Except for the blind guy, he was kind of, but.
Still. Oh, in Rogue One,
yeah, that's Rogue One, not Han Solo.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right.
Shows you how good they are. We can't keep them apart.
Oh my god! I just brain farted and went to Rogue One because I also like Rogue One. The three sequels are just abominable. The spin-offs were much better. They're more fun, more entertaining. Yeah. Oh, that reminds me. Let me see if I can find it real quick. I forgot all about this, and it pertains to what we're talking about. I saw it. Was it yesterday? Let me see. Yeah, here it is. Let me share.
I think I can put back on my little.
So, your little spit guard there.
Yeah, my audio is clear now.
They've been talking about doing series on what's the guy from Rogue One?
Oh, Cassian Andor.
Like,
I don't ask me how I know that, but just. I can't do basic math, but I've got Star Wars and Star Trek trivia going around like crazy.
Yeah, but they're all dead. Sorry, spoilers.
Course, but it would be like a prequel and blah 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 and the whole bit. But Disney Plus is not hugely successful. They're going to make you think it is, but I guess they have somewhere in the vicinity of 50 to 60 million subscribers, which is like
besides the Mandalorian. Besides The Mandalorian, what other shows do they have that people even want to watch?
Right. And don't forget, too, Verizon paid for a full year of a lot of those, including mine. November 12th, mine expires, and guess what happens? Bye-bye. So that'll be interesting to see how it sustains after that. So, they're announcing all these kind of crappy Star Wars shows like Cassian Andor or Boba Fett. And yeah, And I've been saying, if they want to get a lot of money and they want to jack up that subscriber rate, why don't you make a Darth Vader show?
Yeah, while James Earl Jones is still alive.
Even if he's not, you can find someone close enough.
That's true.
It's like, come on. I mean, I would resubscribe to watch Darth Vader. Well, guess
Under
what?
Kathleen Kennedy, though?
Somebody must have heard me, because it looks like they're going to do it.
Under Kathleen Kennedy, though, I'd hate to see how they're going to ruin it.
Her contract's up at the end of the year. She might not be involved. Who knows?
I always think that they should do something different with Star Wars. I think, I know it's always been the space opera, but let's get out of characters and start something new.
Yeah, I guess, but the thing with this for me, again, they want subscribers, they want to draw people to Disney Plus. This is the way you do it.
Right. But it's like Pavlov's dog. It's like, I hate when they
you're right. You keep bringing
purposely They purposely use characters to draw an audience. Like, I hate that. It's like, so we need to do something. Oh, well, everybody loves Darth Vader, so let's put him. Let's do a Darth Vader show.
I'm the best character ever created in the Star Wars franchise.
Hey man, I want to see a Lobot show. Okay, I want to see a whole season of Lobot. On Cloud City, just doing his thing. I want to know more about that man.
I'm with you. He's a robot, I think. I don't think he's a human being. Maybe a cyborg.
I think he's part bionic.
Yeah.
He's got the whatever, the donut around his head, the half donut.
It's like the Captain Picard haircut, but it's electronic.
He's a Lobot, also known by the nickname Lo, was a male human on the planet Bespin who, with the assistance of his AJ-6 cyborg construct, was paid to run battlefield calculations for the Galactic Empire.
There you go.
You could make a great show on that. He could be like a I don't know, a hired mercenary, and then just ends up on Cloud City.
That's actually what happened. I'm looking at his Wikipedia entry right now.
Nice. Throw it up there, Pete. I'll share it.
Lobot.
You got it?
There you go. I put the link up.
You put the link. Could have just hang on.
Lobot, hired mercenary.
Yeah, basically, he gets hired by Lando to be his right hand guy. Here he comes.
They did talk about a Lando series. That would be kind of cool.
There he is.
Well, there you go. You could have Lando and Lobot. That would be awesome.
Of course,
Lando and Lobot show.
People would watch that. I would watch that.
There you go, man.
It'd be like Starsky and Hutch.
Lando and Lobot, space detective.
Jump into like one of those speeders,
or the 2-pod cloud car thing.
Yep.
They have it painted all red with a white stripe on the side.
Nice.
That's awesome.
A droid named Huggy Bear.
Yeah, but they don't care what we think, so
totally watch that. Who wouldn't want to watch that?
Yeah. I mean, that's the whole thing. Like, they have so many things they could do. And they picked Cassian Andor. Like, they don't realize that no one likes their new characters. Sorry.
No
one likes.
I was excited when there was an Ugnaught in Mandalorian, and it took me like a couple minutes to realize it was an Ugnaught.
Right.
And I loved Ugnaughts when I was a kid because they were just weird looking pig-faced things from Cloud City.
Maybe they should make a Gamorrean guard show,
Yeah.
Make
it a sitcom. It's like things just sitting around bitching about working for Jabba.
I mean, it's really sad when you come up with new characters and characters that played such a minor role in the movies have more of an impact.
You're right. Lobot is more famous than anybody in the Star Wars sequels.
In the newer. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Even Spider-Man, when he was selling his action figures to buy a gift for Mary Jane, wouldn't sell Lobot. He's selling his action figures to the pawn shop, and he decides, no, wait a second, I'm going to keep
Lobot. Yeah, I got to keep.
I'm keeping the Lobot.
Yeah.
And that's the name of your show. Everybody loves Lobot.
I think it'd be cool to do like a mob show, like a Godfather type show with Jabba and the Gamorrean guards.
Nice.
And that what's the guy? Bib Fortuna with the
horn that wraps around
his head. Yeah. Like you could, I never understood how Jabba became such a feared person, if you will, slug, when he can't move. Like it would be kind of cool to learn like why everybody's afraid of him when he can't move. Like you could just run away from him.
But I think that was
stand behind him and keep poking him, and that
get a 100-pound woman to choke him to death with a chain.
I mean, just going back to the Darth Vader thing, I find they have a lot of minor characters to play with, and we don't need another Darth Vader. I don't think. I think Darth Vader's been, same thing with Obi-Wan. I don't care to see an Obi-Wan when he's on Tatooine. I can care less.
I really like Ewan McGregor, and I would not mind seeing him do it again. Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, and plus, under the current management, I mean, if they start it now, she's still got her grubby meat hooks into them. So I mean, it's I don't want to see how they're going to defang Darth Vader. I mean, he has to be the bad guy for the entire series, and then
that actually brings up a good point. Keith and I don't know if you saw this, Pete, the Rancor fan film.
Yeah, the
Rancor Keeper.
Oh, really? That? No.
Oh, it's really good. I think you sent that to me, right, Keith?
I did. Did I not send it to you, Pete?
You may have. I may not have seen it.
I gave it away too. Sorry. When you first watch it, you don't know until the end.
Right.
But
that's okay.
Well, I knew, it doesn't give anything away because I heard it on the podcast there, the Rebel and the Rogue podcast. So I knew going in what was going to happen.
Yeah. And it's completely fan film
to watch. It was so good. Yeah.
And again, minor characters. I mean, he appeared in like less than 30 seconds. And
and he was a sight gag. That's what he was.
Exactly. And the guy who did it works now for ILM. And so he said that always stuck with him when he was a kid, that the guy got so emotional because it was like killing his dog, Yeah.
And
then he thought, how'd this guy end up with this thing as a pet? And that's what his whole film is based on. And it's brilliant. And of course, he got all his friends from Lucasfilm to help him make it.
Oh, wow.
It took 2 years to make.
I don't know the name of it, but you could probably put it in the chat room.
Yeah, let me find it. Are you looking for it?
Yeah. We have to click the comment section, right? If we want to post things in the room.
Yes.
Birth of a Monster.
Is that what it's called?
Birth of a Monster. That's what it's called. Yes.
Yeah, it's really, really good. And again, it's I like that character better than I like any character in Rogue One.
Right.
Like, the characters in Rogue One, besides the robot, maybe the Imperial robot, I just didn't think had much personality. I thought the movie was good, but the characters were just cardboard, and they were not memorable.
Very good. Yeah, you're right. I thought Krennic, the villain, was really good.
He was good.
And I thought the droid was
good. The Imperial droid, the tall, skinny.
The one they reprogrammed. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, especially the line where, like, we'll get sucked into space and suffocate. And he's like, I won't. It's pretty good. So,
what else we got going on here?
Let me go to this. I wish Edson would log on because.
Is he coming on?
He said he was, yeah. Because some of this he will just dive right into, but this one, I just stumbled on this morning. I saw this headline. I love this guy. Have you ever watched the show Justified?
No.
Oh, it's so good.
Reminds me of a Justin Timberlake album.
It was it was on FX right after The Shield, so 2008 to 2014, 15-ish.
Okay.
And it's about a U.S. Marshal.
Tim Oliphant is
Timmy Oliphant, and he's great. And this guy Nick Searcy played his boss, who was really likable. He's got art. Anyway, I didn't realize Nick Searcy, he must be a big comic fan because I didn't know he had his thumb on the pulse here. And when I saw the headline, it kind of struck me as odd that an actor would attack a bunch of comic creators. But apparently what happened was a bunch of it's that whole Whisper Network thing again. So you have Mark Waid, Ron Mars, Greg Pak, the usual suspects here, Heather Antos, they're all doing this Comic-Con to raise money for Biden and Harris. Okay, you could do whatever you want. That's no big deal. It's what's said here by this Brett Smith guy here. Marvel and DC artists, writers, and editors hold a virtual fundraiser for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. The mainstream comic book industry is no different than Hollywood. Yeah, we noticed your shit books. It's a place of coercive groupthink and of blacklists for those who don't comply. Look at the language in that last sentence. It's a place of coercive groupthink. So we are going to make you think what we think. And if you don't, you are blacklisted from the comic industry. These pieces of shit. So where is his tweet? I'm trying to find it here. He basically said, oh my God, I can't find it now. Oh, it's down here. Nick Searcy says, these are fascists. Agree with them or you're out of the business. And that's exactly, I mean, he didn't have to say anything else. I mean, look at the language in that tweet. That is unbelievable. Coercive think tank. Coercive groupthink. And blacklist you if you don't comply.
I bet that went over well in a boardroom meeting.
Again, where's Marvel? Where's DC? Where's AT&T and Disney? Why are they not coming down and saying, you can't do this? You cannot do this. You are alienating 50% of our audience. Love them or hate them, they're paying customers. You can't fucking do this. And it's nauseating because, they just keep putting out freaking garbage comics,
I haven't been to the comic store since COVID, which I feel sad because I'm not putting any money into comics. But
I got my email from Keanu Reeves today. I backed his Berserker comic book on Kickstarter.
Oh, that's cool.
He made $1.75 million in 1 month.
Nice.
They contacted to get all the mailing information and everything else. But yeah, I did a donation. I put it on my Amex because I wasn't working much when it came down, but I wanted to support it. And yeah, and the mainstream comics are just livid with it. Like, that's not fair.
So basically, the comic groups are going the way of how music is, where people just release their own stuff online now, and you're not dealing with it. You're not dealing with a music executive.
Yeah, and people who do that are being lumped into that comics gate as if that's a bad thing because they want to go do their own stories and make their own characters and do what they want to do rather than being put into this coercive groupthink.
Yeah, that's how Image Comics started.
Forced to make woke comics that suck, like the new Warriors.
And if you don't buy them, it's all your fault.
We are ists and phobes and Yahtzees.
That's right. They don't sell well. It's because the fans are all.
So one of these gatekeepers in the mainstream is this Heather Antos, and it's kind of funny because people like Scott Snyder bent the knee to her, and Tom King just cucked to her for whatever reason. Like, she's the supposed poster child of, the new comic movement. And she's supposed to be a lifelong fan of comics, right? This is freaking hilarious. So her dog died, which sucks. I mean, that's awful. And her dog's name was Flash. Flash, I guess, is her favorite character.
I like the t-shirt. That's pretty fun.
Yeah. So she got a tattoo in memory of Flash, except she got a Shazam tattoo. That is not the Flash Lightning.
I didn't even really notice it until you said something. I'm like, wait a second, you're right.
A lifelong comic book fan got the wrong logo. Oops. Like this guy here. That's not the Flash's emblem. And here you go, right here. They have them side by side. So there's the Flash on the left, and there's the Shazam Captain Marvel on the right. Oops. And let's have another look at her tattoo. Oops.
Everybody wants to be a nerd. I always love that meme. Everybody wants to be a nerd until you have to do nerd shit.
You know what? That is so true. And you know what? And Gary at Nerdrotic says this all the time too. That the jock nerds are what's causing a lot of this. They're fake nerds. They're the football nerds. You know, now they want to put on a Captain America shirt and pretend that they've been part of this the whole time.
It's like the titty cosplayers. Not that I'm knocking all cosplayers. I don't want to start that, but some of these cosplayers, I think they just show up because.
Oh well, I encourage that.
Because I swear some of them when they show up, I'm like, do you know anything about the comic? No, but I have big boobs, and so does the comic character. I mean, it can only be so many. What is it, Captain Marvels?
Captain Marvel? You
no.
mean,
well, the new Captain Marvel, obviously, but
Power Girl.
Power
Girl.
Yeah,
we like the Power Girl. The black.
Yeah.
Well, Power Girl had that cutout.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
You can only
We
play
like
Power
Wonder
Girl
Woman,
if you
so get the Wonder Womans.
right.
Yeah. So.
Or Harley Quinn.
Yeah. You know, more of this crap happened today too.
Oh God, what did he do?
Nothing. He did absolutely nothing.
Well, okay then.
He's been putting up goofy videos over the last couple of weeks. He put one up because he was up for a People's Choice Award.
Okay.
For a cartoon or something, and he was like, you know, this is the most important election of our lifetime. Make sure you get out and vote for my People's Choice Award. And the SJWs jumped all over him like, this is serious. You're mocking serious subjects here.
Oh
Who
God.
do you think you are, Chris Pratt?
I don't understand. Like, hold on, go back up to the top. That sounds. It doesn't. Chris Pratt attacked as white supremacist after.
Yes, I'm getting to this. So apparently,
that sounds like it sounds ridiculous.
So some of the empty-headed adult pretenders in Hollywood, as Gary likes to call them, decided to do Voters Assemble, where they were going to get together a bunch of Avengers-type people, the Russo brothers, Kamala Harris, and Don Cheadle, Chris Evans, Scarlett Johansson, Paul Rudd, and Mark Ruffalo, and Zoe Saldana, and do a fundraiser. Again, fine. Go for
Okay.
it.
All right. Hey, you know,
So
go with what works. That sounds like
I
it
guess
would work.
Chris Pratt turned it down.
Oh.
So he's automatically now a white supremacist. This is what they do. Now they're attacking him, but Downey Jr. is not there. Jeremy Renner's not there. Elizabeth Olsen's not there. Doesn't matter. And then so the Twitter mob comes after Chris Pratt because he's a white supremacist. And when I get to the punchline, it's just, this is why I'm telling you. Have you watched The Social Dilemma?
No, but you've talked enough about it. I want to see it.
Twitter and Facebook need to be torn down and stomped all over. So this idiot.
Do subscribe to us back on. Do subscribe to us on Facebook and Twitter. By the way,
do subscribe to us on Facebook and Twitter.
That's all it's good for now.
That's all it should be for, is promoting products and events and things like that. Giving morons like Brooklyn Dad Defiant a voice is insane. Take him down. Look at this. Damn it. I'm literally just finding out that Chris Pratt is a Trump supporter, and I'm so messed up behind that. This guy's a children's author.
Oh, God.
Okay. This guy, Gwat Thought. Chris Pratt being a MAGA dummy was really not something I was mentally prepared for. Well, first you have to have a brain to be mentally prepared, Gwat Thought. Then this guy, Cinematic Smith, posted a picture of Regina King's character from Watchmen discovering a KKK uniform in the closet of character Judd Crawford, alongside a caption that read, Chris Pratt's closet be like, implying that the actor is an outright white.
Well, hey, listen, Gamora. God, I can't talk tonight.
Oh, wait.
Gamora might be green, but really.
Right. Here's one more. Davin Mitchell. I'm really frustrated. I can't watch Park and Rec the same way now that I know Chris Pratt is a white supremacist.
Chris,
now let's get to the
not
bottom.
a white supremacist. Come on.
Chris Pratt this year donated twice to Tulsi Gabbard's campaign. She's a Democrat. He donated $2,000.
Yeah.
These fucking people don't do their homework, don't look into things. They've also accused him of being anti-LGBT, supporter of gay conversion therapy, all with no evidence. They also went to his Instagram where he says he likes MMA and church with his family and said that he is a Yahtzee toxic masculine worshiper or something. These people are just...
I follow Chris Pratt on Instagram, and all his Instagram posts are actually really funny.
He's very funny. He doesn't.
It's basically him. I actually started following him years ago, and one of his biggest struggles was when he was on Parks and Rec. He was a pudgy guy, and then what he would do on Instagram is he would show that, you know, obviously he was with a trainer and a nutritionist, and he would show what the things he had to eat. Right. And he would do it. He would do it on Instagram, and he goes, "Great, I have this like really dull tasting muffin, and I really don't want to eat it, but
yeah, no, he's funny, and
he's not political at all.
No, so and he mocks the fact that people are like losing their minds over this stuff. Right. And look at this, Nina the Buddhist. Chris Pratt's bio radiates homophobic white Christian supremacist energy. I love Jesus, my wife, my family, Seahawks fanatic, MMA junkie. Yeah, that's toxic. That's fucking toxic. He likes to watch MMA. He likes the Seahawks in his family and going to church. What in the shit is wrong with these people? And this is, it just keeps going. It goes on and on and on and on. Look at this one. One out of the Chris's, one has to go.
Well, I mean, it's ridiculous. And I think, you know, another problem I think is that everybody has to group things into whether it's right or left. I mean, just because I like Leonard Skinner doesn't make me a fucking... I'm gonna get my foot out.
Whoa!
Problematic.
Yep, Jude, I'm sorry, you're canceled from the stream. You like a Southern rock band? Holy shit!
But what I'm trying to say, what I'm trying to say is, yeah, I know, right? I mean, what I'm trying to say is that you can't everything. People read into stuff way too much, and
you think?
And it's just stupid. It's absolutely stupid. Just because, you know, I don't know, like. I don't believe in anything Ted Nugent says. I can't stand Ted Nugent. I really don't. He's too way out there for me. He's way too right. But Cat Scratch Fever, I'll listen to it. Like, hey man, he was a rockin' dude. But I mean, you know, and I respect his music. I respect him as what he is. But I'm just not in the mentality that he has. But hey, that's his thing. It's his thing.
Right. You know, sometimes it's a healthy thing to separate the art from the artist. You know, I mean, Marina Sirtis is an empty-headed jackhole, but I'm not going to hate Star Trek: The Next Generation because she's a moron.
Right. Well,
I mean, what she said to Kirstie Alley was hilarious.
Oh God, yeah, didn't she say like, "Oh, she's dead to me now" or something like that?
Yeah, I'll find it. It's on here. Yeah.
I mean, you know, I bet you there's plenty.
And Kirstie Alley was great in her response. I mean, this shows again. Okay, so Kirstie Alley has every right to say this. I'm voting for Donald Trump because he's not a politician. I voted for him 4 years ago for this reason. She'll vote for him again for this reason. He gets things done quickly. He'll turn the economy around. There, folks. There you have it. Okay. Like, I don't agree. I
don't agree, but she's allowed to say it because that's First Amendment people.
So should I go burn all my Cheers DVDs now because she said that? No. So Marina Sirtis writes back, "You are now dead to me." This gets better, by the way.
I love how it plays.
Then she can't help herself. She can't help herself and keeps piling on. Like, clearly, like, when I saw this, I was thinking, what happened to Marina Sirtis where she tweets that, right? And then she walks away and she's raging. So she has to go back on Twitter and hit her with some more. "You are also blocked. I don't need to hear your crazed Scientology BS." And then walks away and then comes back. Let's see the timestamps. 12:48. So 6 minutes later. And then 3 minutes later, hits her again. Hey, Kirsty, next time your electricity goes out, I suggest you call a plumber because that's your demented reasoning, batshit crazy. Yeah. And then walks away and comes back a couple hours later.
Oh my God.
It means that I will no longer watch anything she ever appeared in. I have blocked her. She's not actually dead. Geez, talk about being literal, because somebody called her out, I guess. And then walks away and comes back 7 minutes later. To be honest, I don't care about her that much to take the time. Really? Because you just put 5 tweets up ranting. Really, Marina? Like,
oh, she's still going.
And then she comes back 3 minutes or a minute later. Evil triumphs when good men and women stay silent. After somebody said "screw you," and another one. So anyway, this is from someone who just said, "Oh," and then here's the best part: I've never met the woman. So first she says she doesn't have the time to waste after putting 7 tweets, 8 tweets, and then says, "I've never met her." And then she's justifying herself. It goes on like, this is an unhinged person. I'm sorry. And then down here, Kirstie Alley wrote back, "We can still be friends, standing together in the gas station lines if your team wins." And she said, I'm voting for a system. I've narrowed it down for myself. It's either vote for Republic or vote for socialism. It's okay if you disagree. I just love the high road. We can still be friends. After this barrage of insanity from Marina Sirtis. And this is what social media does to people.
Oh, yeah. Like,
crazy. Yeah. Crazy.
No, I think Facebook, especially now, is definitely a haven for just trolly political nonsense.
I think Twitter's lapped Facebook because it's so immediate.
Well, Facebook now is actually kind of funny with the name Facebook. It actually becomes the Facebook of what people go to every day when they log into the internet. I know my mom does. I know certain people, it's like they have Facebook on all the time. It's like basically their front page to the internet. So they're just in the way Facebook operates, it's like constant data flow. I mean, no matter what, it's just going to constantly be moving.
They both are.
And you just glance and you read a headline and you just absorb that. And then when another headline comes out,
we are a nation of headline readers.
Right. And the headlines don't even explain the story very well. It just it tries to be biased completely, even though the story is completely different. You got to read the whole story.
Nobody puts things into context anymore.
Right.
I can go on a whole rant about, and I won't, because I don't want to get political, but
like this whole Chris Pratt thing, all of a sudden someone's going to read the headline and go, "Oh, great, Chris Pratt is a white supremacist."
Exactly how it works.
But yet no one read the whole story
and see that he's a Democrat and could contributed to
right. And that's why, like you said before, Facebook and a lot of these social media
and they know it. You saw that documentary. There's like a whole sect of like Wall Street future bettors that make money off your responses that they calculate because they program you to make those responses.
I'm telling you, it's a social experiment.
Somebody just banked about $400 on Marina Sirtis today because they knew she was going to go off.
That's right.
They knew she was going to go off. It's really scary the way they were talking about those AIs, the way they work, and the documentary was beyond frightening, and that's why I no longer have personal social media. I'm done.
I try. I'm getting to the point where I want to unplug, but the problem is that some of the hobbies that I'm into, the user groups that are on Facebook are extremely valuable if you have a question about something, or if you keep it to that. Right. But you gotta stay away from the political nonsense. And it's funny. It's almost as if I don't think at this point nothing can be regulated, right? The internet is just the internet. People are just going to post whatever.
Well, and that's why you have those guys that work for these social media companies going to Congress and pleading for regulation.
Right.
I mean,
but then you got political parties that don't want that,
Yeah, I know. But if the people who developed it see a huge problem with it, there's a huge problem with it. When a guy who was, an executive at Facebook says he won't let his family use it, That's scary and problematic.
I mean, most bands that we listen to, Kiss, the Ramones, there was people in the band that were completely opposites of the political spectrum. I think Joey Ramone was like a progressive liberal, and I think Johnny Ramone was the ultra conservative.
Yeah, exactly.
And no one knew. You didn't know. They weren't on Facebook. They were just in the band. You never knew that until later on.
The way the real world works is that both sides are usually right here. There's slight variations in your philosophies. The idea that everybody who's a conservative is a racist is absolutely incredibly insane to me.
Right.
I work with tons of conservatives, and aside from economic things, we are on the same page across the board. They are not racists. They are not misogynists. They are not bad people. They just have a different idea about how the economy works.
Right.
And that's gone. Now it's just, no, you're either in the racist bucket or you're in the
and the internet plays to that.
Yes.
It only plays to the left, to the right.
Exactly. Yep. And I, like today I saw this from Az heel versus babyface. He'd had enough. Look, huge fucking fuck you and fuck off Twitter.
I don't even use Twitter that much.
He goes, nothing. Isn't that enough?
There should be like a national holiday where the internet or Facebook, Twitter just shuts down for the day. People would lose their minds.
Right.
Everybody would go to Reddit then.
My nephew spends too much time on that, and it's just as bad.
Reddit's a rabbit hole, man. I'll tell you. You can go down the rabbit hole, Reddit hole, whatever you want to call it.
4chan, Reddit. Ugh.
You get on those sites and like 2 hours go by, and you're just...
So, actually, let me click on this while we're here. Did a video today about the new Batmobile from the Batwoman TV show.
Is Batwoman a lesbian in the TV show?
Oh, goodness, yes.
Oh, no. Well, trans, right?
Oh, really?
No, I don't think she's trans. I think that the rumor is they got rid of Ruby Rose because she wasn't lesbian enough.
Right, and I think they purposely said that they had to. I think that they cast this woman. She has to be binary or something. I could be wrong.
People that don't know, in the comic book, Batwoman is gay.
But here's the thing. Yes, she is. Carol Kane or
Carol Kane. No, that's a comedian.
Yeah, something Kane. Kathy Kane.
Kathy Kane.
Yeah, Kathy Kane. So, anyway, Batwoman doesn't have a Batmobile, but I guess whatever. It's the CW. So, what do you think of this?
That's dumb.
To me, it looks like some high school kids like tricked out hot rod with a Batman emblem on the hood.
Yeah, I like the fact that it's got mascara over the eyes.
I didn't pick up on that. Az picked up on that, and you just picked up on that. That's pretty funny. So the headlights are eyes, and it's got the eyeshadow stripes and
the little bunny nose.
The bunny nose, which is the bat symbol, and a tongue. Look, the little tongue sticking out at the front, down in the front there.
Bip.
Yeah, and then they just put it looks cheap. They just put orange decals to accent the curvature, but it's like a stock car.
That looks like a Pontiac Firebird.
Yeah, exactly. And they just put a bigger spoiler on the back and decals.
Yeah, they did a remake of the Pontiac Firebird, I think in, I don't know what year, 2000 maybe, and that's what it looks like.
Yeah. I wonder what it is.
I think it looks
I heard a beep. Is that Edson?
It is.
I did hear a beep.
Edson.
Hey, what's up, man?
Finally, I don't hear you. I don't hear you at all, Edson. Do you hear Edson?
I hear you.
Oh, there you are.
He is.
Sorry, I hear you.
Hey, we were just looking at the CW Batmobile for
Oh Battle. Yeah, that's wonderful.
Here, I think it's.
Did you watch Az's video?
Yes.
I love that guy.
If you look up the 2001 Pontiac Firebird, it looks exactly like the car. If you type it in, look it up.
Do it right now. 2001
Pontiac Firebird.
That's what it is. They just put stickers on it.
Go to images. Google Images.
Whoops.
Yeah, just go to Google Images.
Hang on, Boomer. Hang on.
Come on, you know how to do this.
Interweb. Oh my God, you're right.
Right? Doesn't it look like it?
That's it right there. Look at that.
Well, the front end kind of came to a point.
That's it. That's the car.
Oh boy.
Is that
no,
the
that's
car?
why they picked it, because it's a Trans Am.
Go look at the
Well, yeah.
look at the one in the corner there. The one all the way to the left.
Shit. Oh, hang on. Let me stop this. That's another story. Hang on. That's right.
All right.
Pete.
You're cut off. You're cut off.
I know. I'm
You're cut off.
problematic now.
No, that was awesome. I don't know if
Send your hate mail to
all right, which one?
GeekTime Net.
The one up in the corner, the red one. The other one to the left.
This one right here.
Yeah. Like blow that up. Oh man.
Oh, come
I'm
on.
pretty sure that's what it is. And
Yeah,
they're just showing different ones.
I
Now,
think you're right.
if you compare the two,
Let me go back to Az's. Where's Az? Here it is.
Oh my God, it is.
Yeah.
They put, and there's a bigger spoiler on it.
Yeah, they dressed up the spoiler and put stickers on it.
it's like they went to a used car dealership and said, "We can work with this."
Yeah, we need a lot of one car so we can crash them all off.
Right. No, that's true. Right.
So
I was gonna say, who's the showrunner there?
Matt Reeves.
As the critical drinker says, don't know.
The showrunner for the CW stuff. He does all.
Oh.
Greg Berlanti.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Greg Berlanti just took his daughter's car and donated it to the show. She's grounded. I took her car away. Yeah. So I'm glad you're here, Edson. I've been sitting on a couple of these.
Yeah, you guys can talk about the boys because I
don't know if well, you can get involved because some of it has nothing to do with watching the show. I don't know if you've been watching what we've covered so far, but we just did the Chris Pratt in the Justified guy complaining.
Yeah, he can't have his own opinion, of course.
Well, even better, the joke of it is that he's a Democrat.
Yeah.
And they're calling him a white supremacist, all these morons.
It's so funny. Everybody wants to point the finger now. It's almost as if back in the day when they used to have communism and everybody feared communists. You're a communist.
It's total McCarthyism.
Didn't they like kidnap whole families and interrogate them because they thought like, the family was like Russian spies or like this?
Yep.
Yeah, and watch the Manchurian Candidate. They do a whole bit on that too, where
weren't they tapping like people's phones back in the day? Just like home phones.
They're trying to weed out communists that don't exist. And
so that whole Vietnam War started.
It's that's it. Except this time, it's not a senator doing it. It's a mob on Twitter and Facebook, and it's just like the Marina Sirtis today going off on Kirstie Alley. It's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Anyway,
it's definitely like everybody wants to point the finger, and I also think it has a lot to do with being passive aggressive. You're already pissed off, so this just makes it like a trigger.
Yeah, exactly. I know we were texting all afternoon, and I said something about misdirected anger or something like that, and that's exactly what it is. It's
like that video with that woman that just screaming into the. What was that?
That is so scary. That woman. Oh my God. Have you seen that?
No.
Oh.
I'll have to dig it up in a little while. I'll need some time so you guys can vamp while I'm looking for it. But it's like, oh my God, it's scary. So anyway,
yeah, that says it all right there.
All right, so while you guys are talking about this, I'm just gonna get a drink. So I'll be right back.
While we're on this, Boys showrunner Eric Kripke claims that the white dudes standing next to you are the most dangerous people.
Which is pretty much one of the most racist things I've ever heard of.
Yeah.
You're just basically judging somebody by just
by the color of their skin.
Yeah.
Next time I go to a Comic-Con, I'm going to stand right next to him and say, "Holy shit, I'm standing next to the most dangerous fuck on the planet." That's what I'm going to say to him. Asshole. So Yeah, Boys showrunner Eric Kripke discussed the upcoming second season, but this is before the second season aired, of course. When is Garth Ennis going to come out and like stop this guy?
Oh my gosh. Well,
so what was the question here? The question asked him was, can you talk to me a little bit about the okay, in season 2 there's the supervillain terrorists all over the world that have been activated by Homelander. However, you never really get the sense that they're more dangerous than their creators. Can you talk to me a little bit about that dynamic?
Okay.
Question about the show, and he says, yeah, it's a great question. We're really interested in exploring the idea of authority figures getting the public really riled up with xenophobia and racism, but ultimately the most dangerous people are the white dudes standing next to you.
holy cow.
We want to reflect that story, so the supervillains are, in a way, a misdirect. Like,
I don't even know what to say about it. It's like,
I have no...
where did he come up with that?
It sounds unhinged. And like, it really doesn't make sense to me. Okay, we know what he's saying here. You know, that Trump gets people fired up about that. But what? This is coming from a white guy.
Yeah.
In a world of privilege. Yeah, it's but he says that, and okay, I kind of blew that one off. Then he doubles down this week. Now he says Marvel Comics films lead people to embrace Trump and populists.
H.G. Wells wrote, moral indignancy is simply jealousy with a halo.
Wow.
Which basically Marvel Comics films make $1 billion a pop. I can't do that. I'm jealous of them. Ergo,
I'm a CW writer. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a CW writer. And for the most part, I think he's actually good at what he does. But I don't like listening to him, and it's really it's disturbing that the guy in charge of this franchise thinks like this.
But I don't think this, like, he's breaking any new ground on this. Wasn't it like maybe 6 months ago that Bill Maher made the same comment about how Marvel or comic books? He said it about comic books. He said comic books are bad because it shows you that you're waiting for somebody, you're getting used to somebody coming and saving you instead of, like, you know, solving your own problems. Which led to Trump being elected, is what he said. I don't know how they even connect with that, but whatever.
Well, they'll connect anything with that.
This is basically the same play on that.
Which is ironic that they're saying that, you know, don't be a victim,
right?
And then playing the victim. You know, don't be a victim, but you know that this is why he lost. Yeah, right. So playing the victim. Wow. So he says, people might be surprised to know this, but I'm actually a fan of the Marvel stuff. The filmmaking is often impeccable. I actually really enjoy the humorous tone that a lot of them are written in. They're snarky, fast, blah, blah, blah. But he says, I sort of believe it's dangerous not to overstate it or to be overdramatic, but it's a little dangerous to train an entire generation to wait for someone strong to come and save you.
Yeah.
So is there anybody from Marvel and DC that actually write for that show, or is it just...
No, it's him. It's him and a small staff.
Okay, so there's not like any influence from that whole mess.
No.
Nope.
The funny part is did John Trent write this? Yeah, he did. John was on Friday Night Tights last week, and he goes, I don't know what Marvel Studios films Eric Kripke has seen, but most of them don't see people waiting for someone else to come and save them. In fact, the opposite is true. In Iron Man, Tony Stark doesn't sit around and wait for the United States military to find and save him. Instead, he builds his Iron Man suit to save himself.
That's
free
right.
himself from terror.
Exactly.
In
Transcending.
America, Steve Rogers isn't just sitting around waiting to join the fight against the Nazis and the Japanese in World War II. He's going to every sign up he can in order to join up. Despite being consistently denied, his persistence leads him to be chosen for Project Rebirth. And a bit of Thor doesn't sit around and wait for anyone to save him. He leads Loki, Sif, and the Warriors 3 in a raid on Jotunheim after frost giants infiltrated Asgard. In fact, literally all of Marvel Studios films show heroes jumping into action and not sitting around waiting for people to save them.
Well, Doctor Strange's a perfect example of that. Dude gets
Dr.
crippled and he
Strange.
brings himself back to, he
Yeah.
Right.
a superhero.
Peter Parker. So this guy's just, I heard rumors that he hates the whole idea of superheroes, which is why I think they thought he was a perfect choice to do a spoof on superheroes. But you have to have respect for what you're railing against. You have to know what you're talking about, to me. And this guy clearly just has no idea. And he's just about shoving his politics. I mean, good God, those last 2 episodes.
Yeah, horrible.
Horrible.
My brother was telling me a little bit about them. They kind of went down to like a Kyle Rittenberg type of thing, right?
Not well. They had episode 7 had, and it's funny because I must have watched it tired, Edson. I rewatched it after you texted me about the daddy thing.
Oh yeah.
And I picked seven plot lines in one episode that were against straight white men.
Yeah.
It starts with an overweight incel guy in his basement watching social media memes and right-wing bullcrap, and decides to grab a gun and go shoot a guy at a convenience store. And it has no bearing on anything else. It's just, that's it.
There was no connection.
He has no bearing on the story. It's just a scene that clearly this guy needed to put in there to make himself feel better about himself. It was just,
it never even comes back to connect to anything. Like the guy never comes back to interact with any of the characters.
Nothing. That scene was isolated, and it had no effect on the overall plot. And when that's my problem with this shit. When you do stuff that disconnected to the narrative, it has no bearing on the story. You just did it to say something. You wanted to get that message out there that people who are watching conservative media are going to go shoot convenience store clerks. You get corrupt. So then it went from there. You had four different bad deadbeat white dad stories in one episode. 4 characters with bad white deadbeat dads. In between all that, you have 2 straight white males in their late 20s, early 30s, sitting on a couch trying to out-cuck one another.
Yep.
Actually saying, no, I'm a bigger cuck than you are. No, you're the cuck fluffer. You're worse than a cuck. Like, this is what was all in one fucking episode. And
again, a lot of those, I'm watching this and I'm like, what does this have to do with the actual story?
Nothing. Nothing.
So it's just to inject a little bit of politics into it.
Exactly. And for Eric Kripke to say that people shouldn't sit around and wait for people to save them, and the main character of his show does exactly that over and over and over again, is bitter irony, because Huey is a cuck.
Yeah, that's
There's no growth in Huey. He's not changing at all. He's constantly whining. He's boring. And then the last episode, he was proud of himself for outdoing the Avengers Endgame girl power scene. He actually took credit for that too. We outdid it, where they have all the females are stomping Stormfront while the dudes stand there with their mouths hanging open watching.
Yep, just sitting there
watching.
And Starlight wasn't even using her powers. She was just punching
the shit beat out of her. Oh, Starlight, yeah, Starlight, and guys at the comic shop, when I was complaining about that, said, well, what were they supposed to do? They don't have superpowers. I'm like, they're boys. They jump in. They jump in and help. They don't just stand there watching. So it was I couldn't believe, because the first 6 episodes were solid, and then the last 2, it was like, oh, I see. He got his audience, so now he's gonna flip the whole thing. And then his AOC character ends up a supervillain. I did like that. At least he made AOC a villain.
Yep. That was true.
So I guess even liberals know she's a menace.
Yeah, I was like,
I have to binge watch all these. I mean, I know it's only 2 seasons, so I could probably catch up.
It's only 16 episodes. You'll blow through in a week.
Yeah.
It's really well done. It's fun to watch.
I think you'll enjoy the first season for sure.
First
I
season,
watched some of the first season and I liked it. I mean, the first episode alone, where the guy runs to the guy's girlfriend, and blew her up.
Yeah.
I mean, that immediately when you saw that, you're like, this show's gonna be fucking awesome.
Yeah.
I mean,
unfortunately, A-Train is really minimized in season 2. He's one of my favorite characters in the show. I really like A-Train, and I like the Deep because I love that he's Aquaman and he's the butt of the joke. And there wasn't enough of the Deep in this season either, but I did like that he joins a culty church, though.
That was weird.
It was, it was Scientology, which is, Scientology was the joke 20 years ago, not now.
Yeah, he's a little bit late to the game. Scientology was like under attack, 20 years ago or whatever.
Exactly. Nobody even cares about Scientology anymore.
Now, no.
But there's still culty churches and culty.
Except for Marina Sirtis.
Yeah, right. Except for Marina Sirtis, who attacked Kirstie Alley about it today.
So basically, this show, it feels like it's written by Alan Moore, basically. Like all the characters.
It
really?
No, I mean, it was.
I thought it was like the anti-hero kind of thing.
It is. Well, no, it's not really an anti-hero. What it is that they're corporate-owned superheroes. They're on a payroll, and it basically takes shot at corporate America, the mainstream media, and the superhero genre all in one shot. And that's what makes it brilliant because they're actually on a payroll and they get paychecks,
right?
But they're
endorsing
assholes.
things.
They're just assholes.
So in a way, you're right, Jude. It is an anti-hero.
It is an anti-hero thing, but like we're with Watchmen, they were dealing with their personal flaws. These people are just assholes. These are just like, to me, they're an allegory for like celebrity, for Hollywood.
If they had superpowers,
point where they think they're better than everybody, and they look down at everybody, and that the rules don't apply to them, and they can make their own. That's what it is, and the Vought company that pays them keeps, putting out the PR to cover. It's in this guy Homelander. He's the best. He's such a bastard,
narcissistic, egomaniac, megalomaniac.
Oh yeah,
he plays it perfectly.
He gets worse and worse and worse, and a lot of it's because he's a tortured soul. Like he was, basically orphaned. He doesn't know how to love, and it's really good. The more frustrated he gets, the more dangerous he gets. So, yeah, I mean, season 1 was awesome, and season 2, I thought the first 2 episodes were a little slow. Then it got really good, and then the end was. I did like Stormfront's fate, although now I'll be sad that she's gone because I thought Stormfront was one of the better parts of the year. Like your brother loved him, Jude. Loved Stormfront. He's like, she's like that hot bad girl, She was. That's
the only way I know about the show is my brother will spill the beans a little bit and then he'll tell me, "Oh, you got to watch the show," but he's already spoiled a bunch of stuff for me already.
Yeah,
like thanks. And now you're telling me to watch the show. Yeah.
I haven't heard from him since episode 6. I have a feeling he got just as mad as I did.
Yeah. I think that was the most active I've seen him in our text chat is when you guys were talking about the boys.
Yeah, we got up to episode 6, and then episode 7, I texted him and said, "Geez, there was problems with this one." He never wrote back. And then episode 8, he never wrote. He didn't say anything. So, while we're on that, should we go to DC or should we go to Warner Brothers? I only got 3 things left here.
Oh, you haven't covered a DC thing yet, huh?
No, I waited for you. Let's go there.
I gotta look at our list. What's up?
So this wasn't on the list. I forgot about it until I saw Az killing it today, and I was like, "Oh shit, forgot about this."
Boy, they don't want to make money, do they?
No, Az says DC stands for don't care. Yeah.
Batman will always sell no matter what.
Is this?
That's the problem.
That is the problem.
In this one, they're putting him in the background.
In this, is this a total reboot or is this only a special thing?
It's a special. It's like for 2 months, January and February of next year.
I won't have to spend any money until the spring.
Exactly. That's the way I looked at it. You save me money for the winter.
This looks horrible.
Wait. Can you? It's a little fuzzy.
I have it better here. DC Future State.
Basically, it's like the Marvel 2099 stuff. like Superman of the future, Batman of the future, Wonder Woman of the future.
I always thought that was gimmicky. I never bought into that because I was like, this is just a fucking gimmick. It's the reason why it's selling comics is let's put them in the future. Okay.
Right. So where's?
I mean, please correct me if I'm wrong, but that's how I've interpreted it.
Yes. So.
It is, but in the background, it was to try to which Marvel failed miserably. So I don't know why they try. The DC's following. It's to basically replace all your classic, let's say, white characters like Bruce Wayne and Clark Kent, and with more diverse characters. But
no.
Oh, it's not.
Well, no, they're not adding new diverse characters. They're just replacing the existing.
Right, replacing them. Right, yeah. Which Marvel did try
several times
and failed.
Well, that's why they have the Spider-Verse now, pretty much.
Yeah. So some of these covers are just awful. So they have the next Batman.
What is the next Batman? Who's writing it? If it's King, fuck him. I'm not buying anything he writes ever again.
I don't think it is.
I just blew it away by accident.
I think this is directly related to an initiative that they had going on a year ago. They were going to make this the new DC. It was called 5G, fifth generation.
Right.
So this was all pre-COVID stuff anyway.
So Batman, Bruce Wayne is now Dark Detective, also featuring the Grifters.
But why would they change their? Why would they?
Catwoman. Like, look how bad these, like, the graphic design
doesn't look like anybody I know.
It's Captain America with horns.
Yeah, it's Bruce, but then you have Batman, Superman. So they're basically, and this is only some of them. I was trying to find.
God, I hate the side panel stuff. That's so
it's all this
ugly.
striping, and it just looks bad. This one right here reminds me of like 20 years ago, the Ultimate Comics from Marvel looked like this.
Oh yeah,
doesn't it look like that? This just doesn't. Nightwing is the only one that looks correct.
Yeah, the same. Yeah, they didn't change.
This looks like, oh, all right, we'll leave one guy untouched. We'll leave Dick Grayson alone. The rest of it just looks awful, and I don't know.
But isn't there? But in addition to this, isn't there like a younger generation taking over the current?
I think so. I think that's what it is. Like Jonathan Kent is the new Superman,
right? And they have Lucius, not Lucius Fox. Lucius Fox's son?
Luke Fox.
Luke Fox
is Batman.
Is Batman, which is like the biggest leap. I mean, you had so many other characters that could replace Batman and have played his part, and yet this one not even close, and so that's the biggest leap.
Yeah, it just they don't have the Aquaman here, do they? Oh, I gotta find
that was the other one.
Oh, here they are. They're down here.
Oh, here we go. Okay, that was what I was looking for.
Yeah.
Is that Lex Luthor?
I don't even know who Wonder Woman is now. She's from Brazil, apparently.
Yeah, some new character.
Coming in is just like old with gray hair.
Yep.
Lex Luthor. Go to Lex Luthor. Is that him? What is he, a pastor? What is it? What are they?
Yeah, you know what? He's like,
there's like aliens underneath him. What is he, like a
Scientologist? Clearly. And then you have
what?
Jonathan Kent. This looks really bad. Where's the Aquaman though? Aquaman's classic. Maybe it's down here. Yeah, here we go. Here it is.
Oh, come on.
What the hell is this?
He's supposed to look like a surfer dude. Come on.
That's his daughter.
Right. Aquaman's the guy in the background, right?
Yeah.
That's Aquaman back there.
That's Aqualad.
Yeah.
Oh, is that who that is?
But that's supposed to be his daughter.
He's Aquaman now because it's the future. I guess. I don't know. Then you have the Flash where all the old Flashes are dead, and I don't know who this guy is.
Some new guy from the.
They're doing a Crisis.
They're gonna have a crisis because no one's gonna buy it.
Crisis on Earth.
Yeah,
not an infinite one.
Also featuring Guy Gardner and Jessica Cruz. Like
also.
It just Suicide Squad. These just do not look appealing in the least. This one's, look at this. This is the Justice League.
Oh, there's there's all the new ones. Okay.
There's all the new ones right there. Look at this Flash person back there. It's a woman. I don't know who it is. Is it? She got gray hair. You think it's Iris?
Oh, I hadn't even thought of that.
Whoever it is has gray hair, so that's an older woman. But
yeah, Nightwing looks like the only
traditional.
Yeah, except for Superman. I don't know what they did with Superman.
Here's Teen Titans. I don't know what's up with that.
And that's actually Nightwing's original costume from Teen Titans.
Right, you're right.
Yep.
With the feathers in the front.
Yep. Swamp Thing. Swamp Thing looks.
Like I don't know. Like a tree, like an ant.
Right.
I am Groot, man. I am Groot.
Look at this, Kara Zor-El Superwoman. Look at what the? She's wearing pajamas. This looks like a My Little Pony comic book or something.
Yeah.
Well, they're not really pulling from the artist pool, aren't they? They're pulling from a completely different artist pool.
Clark's like 100 years old.
Well, I have a feeling that back when they were gonna do the initiative, they had promised all these young, new writers and artists, and this might be like what they give them, like 2 months worth.
Yeah, maybe.
Also, the 2 months could be a test to see is this going to sell. If so, we're going to come back with it. If not,
I have a pretty.
It's definitely a lot cheaper too.
Huh? What?
It's definitely a lot cheaper too.
No, I mean, what were you saying, Keith?
Oh, I said I have a pretty good idea of how that's going to go.
Oh yeah.
Is this Firestorm down here in the right-hand corner under Superman?
Looks like Flash.
Oh, maybe it's Flash.
She got a bionic leg.
Oh, okay.
So she's like a Flash amputee.
Oh my god. I never noticed that.
Well, the Bionic Woman was running fast, so.
Yeah. Look at Bruce Wayne's wearing a T-shirt now.
Yep.
Like, gee, that's safe. Yeah, just. And he's like 60, and he's wearing a T-shirt. Look at Clark. Look how old Clark.
So this is when we walk into a comic shop. This is what's going to be on stands.
On those 2 months, yes.
That's 2 months. Two months of comics that are going to sit on a shelf and sent back to DC.
And they are
accepting returns on them though.
They're gonna suspend all the other regular titles for those 2 months.
Which are their best sellers?
What?
Yep. They're going to
spend everything for 2 months.
In a time of crisis for your company.
Right. Right. Like, are they trying to commit suicide? Are they just looking?
I seriously, like I said before, I seriously want to be in these boardrooms. And is somebody who doesn't stand up and go, "Excuse me, this fucking sucks. This is a fucking terrible idea."
This is what happens when you.
Or they just all stay quiet. Oh yeah, that sounds good.
AT&T doesn't give a shit. If DC goes out of business, they'll be happy. It's just it's one less expense. They don't care. They don't care, and this is just awful. Speaking of AT&T, they don't care.
Oh,
this.
Oh, this. Oh my God, this.
Wait, I read about this. I was reading this earlier today.
Yeah. I don't even know where to go. I mean, this left me slack-jawed.
But I always go into this. I always go into this slightly biased when they start saying proclaim Marxist. Like what? Like that's
she is. She says it.
I mean, anytime I think of Marxist, I think it's like too hardcore.
Yeah. Well, you think? This is what she says. As a longtime community organizer and social justice activist, I believe that my work behind the camera will be an extension of the work I've been doing for the last 20 years. I look forward to amplifying the talent and voices of other Black creatives through my work. Okay. Let's see. Colors described herself and fellow Black Lives Matter founder Alicia Garza as trained Marxists. The first thing I think is that we actually do have an ideological frame. Myself and Alicia in particular are trained organizers. We are trained Marxists. We are super versed on sort of ideological theories. And I think that what we really try to do is build a movement that can be utilized by many, many Black folk. Through the Black Lives Matter organization, Colors advocates to dismantle cisgender privilege and uplift Black trans folks, especially Black trans women who continue to be disproportionately impacted by trans antagonistic violence. The organization also wants to disrupt the Western prescribed nuclear family structure requirement by supporting each other as extended families in villages that collectively care for one another, especially children, to the degree that mothers, parents, and children are comfortable. It goes on. Fine, but they're going to give her carte blanche to do whatever she wants in movies, TV, and children's programming. She calls herself a Marxist. We all, I mean, come on. None of us have a problem with diversity. This?
No.
I mean, they're fighting. They're trying to fight a war in entertainment that doesn't exist.
I think the best way to
did anybody watch Coming to America and realize there's no white people in it?
No, that's what I'm trying to say.
Exactly,
I think
no. Did we watch In Living Color and complain that there was one white guy on that show? No. We watched it to laugh.
I always thought Sigourney Weaver was a badass in all the Alien movies, and I never ever said, well, because she's a woman, I can't think like that. I'm like, legitimately, this woman's a fucking badass. So growing up, I never ever saw I never associated anything like that with it.
Have been addressed a long time ago.
Right.
Like Coming to America is a great example.
Oh yeah.
I never realized it until they said it on Friday Night Tights. I never realized that it's all black cast. I never realized it.
Eddie Murphy. Eddie Murphy does dress up as a Jewish guy in the barbershop.
Okay, right. But the cast, but it never dawned on me because I watch it and I'm entertained and
it never occurs. Yeah.
It never dawned on me till they said that the other day.
What was the show?
I've watched that movie since it came out in 1989 and it never occurred to me.
Because you get wrapped up into like the funny characters, the great story, and you don't think about it. It's like
exactly,
the alien with the Sigourney Weaver. It's like I never even occurred to me this should really be a man there. No, I loved her character, and I didn't.
Did you ever watch Good Times and say this show would be so much better if it was?
No.
But we have people telling us that's not true.
Wow. Who? Okay.
I mean, go back to the 1980s. Who were the top entertainers in America? Who was making the most bank? Michael Jackson, Eddie Murphy.
I think there's definitely people. Maybe there's a small demographic, a very tiny demographic,
very small
that has a problem with this stuff, and maybe it's on either side. Like I said, it's always two extremes of the spectrum. That's the right, and then there's the left. And as much as we can talk about this, I think it's a very small group.
Oh, it's very small.
I mean, there's gray in the middle.
Let me ask you this question, Jude. You work at a college. You work in a small city. We're middle-aged guys. I mean, how many actual ists have you come across in your life? Actual haters, actual ists, like clan level.
Well, I mean,
zero,
unless they're a closet.
Yeah, but
but
for the most part, they're not. That's how small a group.
Well, I always thought about this in sports, and I don't want to sound racist in any way. Okay, but when you watch particular sports, there's more of a race demographic or another. So if you're a person, I mean, I've never heard anybody ever, everybody loved OJ, brother.
Right.
I mean, that's the thing.
Everybody loved Bill Cosby. He was another top entertainer.
Right. And I think, I always never, like when I was watching baseball growing up, I never ever thought of a baseball player by their race. I always thought of them as just a great player.
Exactly.
And I admired, I'm like, wow, I mean, this guy's great. Like if I played baseball, this is like an idol. And I never ever
jerseys I have hanging in a closet that are not white players.
Right. So it's sad that the media is sort of addressing this and making it sort of more of a deal than it really is. But in the long run, these are things that we can think for ourselves. I don't need to have somebody tell me that I should be sympathetic to something when I already know. I already know.
Exactly. But get ready, because anything coming out from Warner Brothers is going to be
right.
It's going to beat you over the head.
I mean, and I hate to say this, but like for instance, in the last Avengers movie, the Endgame movie, where they had that one scene where all the female characters are like rushing Thanos, and I thought it was a good scene, but then I also thought it was sort of just injected in there. Just
I was sitting next to Jackie.
Girl power.
Jackie she face palmed. She went, "Oh no!" Jackie gets upset, and I wish she was on, because she would say that does more damage to the cause than good.
It was completely contrived. It didn't fit the situation.
No.
In the middle of this big battle, you're not going to have people women from all over where they're fighting
themselves
come to the one spot. It makes no sense.
And they what that was, though, was preview of coming attractions for the MCU Phase 4.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, you could have done it it wasn't subtle at all. He's right. They just injected it in the movie, and it felt like it was so uncomfortable with the pacing. Like all of a sudden you're watching this thing happen, all of a sudden you're like, wait, that doesn't belong there. What the fuck? Like, it's cool. They're all going in.
Really did like land out of nowhere. It was just...
it was like the guy was sitting there editing the movie, and there was people behind him. They're like, no, you got to put that in there. And they're like, the guy's like,
I feel like the studio made the Russo brothers do that, because
it's really product placement.
Well, because if you see some of the interviews, they actually talk about this other scene where Captain America and Iron Man and a bunch of, they're gonna like jump into this like this hole where they have cover, and they're gonna talk about this plan right in the middle, and then they kind of like, that's not going to happen because it doesn't belong in a battle like this. They're not going to just take a break to come up with this plan and then come back. And yet that's exactly what happens. So I think you're right. I think they were forced to put that in there.
It might even be a reshoot, when it's coming back together on a green screen, stand there and,
Like I said, I brought this up before with Star Trek. There's a way to address an issue and do it. I guess what Pete was saying, subtle, right? Was that the word you were using? Or
subtlety.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to put it in people's faces, like that whole episode with Spock and the guy being a bigot because Spock looked like a Romulan, and he, but they did it classy, and that was back in the day.
That was back when the race riots were going on in the 60s,
right? And I think that there's
Frank Gorshin episode,
right? There's a way to do
Frank
something.
Episode, that was about as way as, it was overt, but it was still
right. And that's better storytelling than just throwing it in your face and saying, this is what it is, and recognize what it is.
That's one of my favorite episodes of the original series. But it made sense because his father was killed by
right. He was in that Romulan.
It all made sense. It all made sense why he acted that way.
And nobody had seen a Romulan until
until that episode, which is
it
amazing.
was kind of, oh my gosh,
right.
And cloaking, like I said, that was the first cloaked ship, I think, in Star Trek.
That's that episode is so good. It's like a classic submarine.
Oh yeah, right.
It's just.
Yeah, and it was like a cat and mouse thing. They were kind of going back and forth because that ship was a lot more powerful, but then they found that weakness where
it's fun watching the Romulan commander and Mark Leonard, who ended up Spock's father,
right,
and Shatner just trying to outwit one another. It's not about the action; it's about the chessboard,
right?
The chess game, like when the Romulan commander throws
he flips out
garbage. No, he throws the bodies in the garbage, and to let them think they destroyed the ship, and Spock's like, nah, there's not enough debris there to qualify. They're pulling it out.
Yeah, but then he doubles up and he disguises like a torpedo inside the debris, and it almost damaged it. It did damage the Enterprise. So that was good.
Their cat and mouse game of wits was make that episode so good.
And I like the parallel between the Romulans and Vulcans because they're more logical. And Romulans are the most like emotional. It's like the opposite side of the spectrum. They're the guys strictly on emotion, and Spock's just kind of like, okay, I'm just chilling here.
Yeah, no, I mean it was and that was like the 6th or 7th episode, so it really put a lot of the lore in the world building in there very early on.
Yeah, it's when Spock had that weird haircut. It wasn't kind of perfected yet. The
Right.
alien hairdo.
What I love about the first season of Star Trek in particular is the lighting. And that episode had a lot of mood lighting in it, and especially we always had Kirk with the eye, the highlight across his eye.
the light slash.
The light slash across his eyes, and
Yeah, that was good.
Just very emotional episode. It starts with a wedding and ends with a funeral. So
right, exactly. The wedding gets interrupted, but like I said, that's how you write a story. If you want to talk about something that's kind of I don't know, sensitive, do it with a good story. You don't have to shove it in people's faces and say this is wrong, this is right. Do it in a way where people can sort of relate to it because it's a story, and someone might say, "Oh, I can relate to that story because I've had a similar experience." But when you're blatantly taking something and like shoving it in your face, it's not as interesting. You know what I mean?
I'm with you.
And I think that's how you can.
The numbers back you up, because like Star Trek Discovery, nobody's watching it because they don't want to be preached to.
Yeah, although I might have to pay money to watch Mikey Spock get hit by a spaceship, even though she falls to the planet and survives. But did you hear about that?
Yeah.
We talked about that earlier.
She's
in some kind of space suit
she's flying around in the space suit
and gets hit by a spaceship.
Yeah, she accidentally, collides into the.
She goes through a wormhole with it.
Yep.
And smacks into a spaceship.
And just collides with it.
Because she's the bestest ever, to quote Doomcock. I got one more thing before we sign off. We're at 2.5 hours.
Usually we go 3.
Usually we're going to be weekly now, so we got to save some stuff, right? This I just found, and it has nothing to do with entertainment, but I had to. California is experiencing a mass exodus. I don't know if you're aware of this. Gary's done 2 videos on it now, and the amount of businesses that are gone for good in California is staggering. It's like 54% in San Francisco, 49% in Sacramento, and like 31% in LA, somewhere around that, 28 in San Diego. They're all just dying. So this he put this up and I couldn't believe it. Look at the price.
Yeah, I saw that.
To rent a truck to get out of there.
Oh my God.
$bucks, right? So this guy Mark Perry put the chart on Twitter. This is really crazy. So if you want to leave LA and move to Phoenix, the truck's going to cost you about $2,000. If you want to go from Phoenix to LA, $186.
Oh wow.
San Francisco to Phoenix, $2,500. Phoenix to San Francisco, $261. LA to Houston, $4,200. Houston to LA, $793. So you can see, it just goes on and on. $4,500. San Francisco to Houston, LA to Dallas, $4,000. It's unbelievable. And this doesn't even talk about the wait time to get these trucks. It's 4 to 6 weeks. Look at this. Los Angeles to Austin, $1,883 for a 10-foot truck, $3,964 for a 26-foot truck. The prices amounted between a 2- and 4-fold difference the other way around. The governor of California is destroying the place, for lack of a better term. I don't know if you've seen some of the restrictions he's throwing down, but he just threw down a Thanksgiving restriction. Families are only allowed to have 3 family members in the house for no more than 2 hours, and you're not allowed to sing.
What?
Whatever that means. You're not allowed to sing. But, like someone asked, so what are you going to do about it with your defunded police department? Nothing. Are
you saying he's like the Burgermeister and those Halloween? Or those holiday specials?
He's ridiculously power hungry. He put down a new mandate for restaurant. Same kind of deal as around here, wear your mask in the restaurant, take it off when you sit at the table. Except now you have to put it back on between bites. So take it off, bite, put it on, chew. Take it off, bite, put it on, chew. Take it off, bite. What if you have soup or
Yeah,
or like ribs or spaghetti.
Or ribs, yeah.
Very messy, and it gets all over this guy. And the other day when he was being asked about all the businesses going under, and Disney went to him and said, please work with us. We need to open the park. We're dying here. And his response was something along the lines of, no, and you can't make me do anything I don't want to. So the next day they laid off 28,000 people.
Yep.
This guy, they really need to do a vote of no confidence or something and remove him. He actually had the nerve when asked about all these businesses and all the mass exodus, and he said something like, we're still the happiest place to live. Go back to Time magazine in 1994, and pointed out that people have been saying this since then. And we had a great economy for the last 3 years. Yeah, had, past tense. You're done. You are done. Even Bill Maher is complaining, like, what am I paying for here? I'm paying all these taxes for what? So it's unbelievable.
And he keeps saying that he's doing everything right in response to this, and yet his state is like one of the highest spikes, continuing to be. There's never been a slowdown there. So I don't.
Yeah, it's amazing. There's never been a slowdown there, but everyone's locked in their house and wearing a mask all the time, and it's out of control. So who knows? But I just thought that the truck rentals are unbelievable.
That was amazing.
I mean, the fact it's like 10 times cheaper to move to California.
I can't imagine the fires being any better. I mean, I was watching the news the other day, and they were saying that it almost looks like
California burns every year.
It almost looks like a Blade Runner, with the
sky's all
orange.
California burns every year. It just seems like each year it gets a little bit worse. And then I forgot where it came out the other day. One of the it was NBC, said that the reason the fires are so bad is because there's no forest management. But everyone laughed at the Orange Man for saying exactly that. So, Jeffrey, my nephew's a firefighter, and he said they have the same areas of Texas with the same problems, and they have zero problems with fires because they have an extensive forest management program to go and pick up the debris and get it out of there in fire season. And, I don't see that out in LA. It's a tinderbox. So, why would anyone want to move there? Double the cost of living, high taxes, earthquakes, wildfires. You can't go outside. You can't even eat without a mask.
I don't know.
So again, like
the movies, it's the magic of the movies. That's why you live in LA, because of the magic of the movies, Keith.
Yeah, they're all taken off too. So celebrities are what, 2 more leave this week? Julia Roberts left, and somebody else. I forgot who it is. Both took off. So yeah, they're fleeing like crazy. So and I think some of them, like Gene Simmons, was selling his mansion for $2 million. That's worth more than that. He's just trying to get the hell out of there. Take it. It's probably worth like 8 or 9, but he's like, just take it. So who knows?
What do you know what his
Here's all I know. This is what we have to look forward to.
The goal is not really to promote Star Trek, but to promote these organizations and to use our platform, not really to promote Star Trek.
I don't get enough of that.
Fuck you, Alex Kurtzman.
Put it back.
Hey, now I don't have to be the one doing it.
Is anybody disappointed that the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown's, it's the Great Pumpkin, I guess, is not going to be airing this year on
That's
Halloween?
right. Yeah, that kind of sucks. Yeah, it's going to what, HBO Max?
Oh.
They don't know yet. It's literally hasn't. I guess Apple was trying to get something going on with it, and then they dropped it, and it's just being dropped by every single network. And for what reasons? I don't know why.
What's wrong with it?
I don't know. It's like you actually have better programming. You can't show it.
Is the Schultz estate asking too much money? I don't know.
Oh.
Speaking of cartoons, I saw that someone got beheaded in France because of drawing Muhammad.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Just drawing? Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of no, you don't do that.
Yeah. South Park learned that the hard way too.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. Any final thoughts?
I'm pretty good. I think we covered all the topics. Unless anybody's got something else they want to address for the next 15 minutes or talk about.
Well, next
I
week.
just hope things get better.
I enjoyed your little visit there on Friday at the Witch's Dungeon. That was great.
Oh, thanks. We had some audio glitches.
That was but hey, it was an experiment.
I mean, his stuff, and I mean, you guys could have been there for a couple hours, interviewing him on how much he.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Cortland, he can talk.
Yeah. Well, that's why he has a museum, right? I bet
that's right.
You pay to hear him talk.
Exactly.
But yeah, no, it was really good, and hopefully, we can do some more of that because it was kind of like a traveling roadshow kind of thing,
It was cool, and I could have used your technical prowess, Jude, because it was tough. But we were literally crammed; like there was no room for a fourth person. It was unbelievable. So if you did come, like I said, we'd probably have like a roving cam somewhere else.
Yeah.
Because we were around the little card table was 4x4 card table in chairs, and it was like to go to the bathroom I had to squeeze between Pete and the post, and it was really tough, but it was awesome because the place is laid out like a maze, so it's
maybe we could do more of those, and the fact that it was live was cool.
I want to do more of those, especially when Comic-Cons come back around and stuff like that,
I mean, there's so many great artists and writers here in Connecticut. You never know who's going to come on the show.
Yeah. Well, I know there's Dan from BoomTube wants us to put these two guys on they just did a book that sold out. So we'll have to get them on soon. And that's the idea on this Tuesday night thing, to get a guest every week, like a special guest, whether it's another podcaster or
a viewer.
A viewer or a comic book artist, a filmmaker, whatever, just somebody to jump on with us and help build an audience. So
does anybody, before we leave, does anybody want to talk about what they've been watching, what they've been reading? I've been watching, like I said, I got to number 4, part 4 of Friday the 13th. I'm probably going to find part 5 tonight.
Yeah, I've been watching a few spooky movies, but overall, between this and I actually got a few gigs.
You've just been working.
Yeah.
Yeah, same here. I've got some animation I've been working on, and I got a project for a friend of mine that needs to be done rather quickly, so I've been working.
There's a guy we should get as a guest next week. Dan Leroy. Connecticut.
Oh, there you go. Hey, yeah, that's not a bad idea.
We should get a couple of them. Those guys are great.
Yeah, well, we'll get Dan for now.
Yeah.
What about
I mean, they custom build all that Ghostbuster stuff. It's
yeah.
Just to hear them how they put it together.
Yeah. What have you been watching, Edson? Anything? Nothing
much. Just some of that. Yeah, and I've been enjoying the Joker War there from Batman. That was a good storyline, and been reading up on his future plans. I hope DC doesn't really. That gets me upset that they make these stupid decisions, because his plans for Batman seem awesome. So I wanted him to stay on with that title for a long time.
Yeah. Quick question, because I still have to read issue 100. Then there's the other one. Is it Warzone? Does Warzone come after issue 100 or before?
Warzone. I didn't even know what.
Or War Games or Joker. It's a one shot.
Oh, Joker. I don't think I have that.
Okay, I got it from BoomTube, and then I still have to read 3 Jokers book 2.
Oh, okay. So I'm not going to say anything about that, but and I know his one shot for there's like a punchline one shot that follows it, but that hasn't come out yet.
Oh, that's right. I wanted to get the punchline.
Yeah.
Dan better not hose me on that one. Well, I guess her first appearance book is like selling for big bucks.
Oh, it's crazy. It's like at least over $100.
I wish I bought more than one.
Yeah.
I should actually lend Pete and Keith, the Batman White Knight series. You want to read a good
I'm
Joker
going to buy
story?
that from.
I read that. It's
White
good.
Knight's amazing.
Sean Gordon Murphy. That's on my holiday reading list. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a spin on the Joker character. It's
That's like 11.
literally, it's a spin.
Amazon.
Right.
Yeah.
And are you enjoying, or have you been reading Tynion's run or at all, or you stopped after King just blew it up, dude?
Oh, I don't want to get into the whole King thing. I read White Knight because I just couldn't stand reading King's Rebirth.
Right.
Keith actually got further than I did, and he's like, no, it's getting better. And I'm just like, I gave that guy like 5 chances until issue like 25, 26, and that was it. And you know what was really funny is I felt like he had a lot of promising directions. Like I was like, I like where this is going. And then all of a sudden it was like he just beat the shit out of it, and it just fell flat on its face.
For me, it was fine until the wedding. We got up around issue 50.
That was it. That was it for me.
Yeah.
Yep.
I just felt like it was
And
sort of
then the
like a
issues
build
did
up,
after
and then it just never peaked. I never felt like it escalated to saying that was awesome. I always was like,
The issues he did after the wedding were kind of flat. They were okay, but it stumbled and it never righted itself, I don't think. And then they got rid of him and brought in Tynion, who's cleaned it up.
That's what I mean. I was wondering whether if you started with Tynion's run after King.
I did.
Oh, you didn't. Okay. Well,
I had such a bad taste in my mouth. I went to.
I understand.
James Detective and started reading Detective, and then Detective was kind of generic and just boring.
Yeah.
It wasn't bad. It just had more characters in it, you know. And I
think you'd really like James Tynion's run, at least the Joker War.
I might read it. I might read it.
And the storyline leading up to the Joker War, his Dark Designs, those two stories.
Yeah, no, they were very good.
Yep.
Yeah, and I didn't like Metal. I actually read Metal in the comic book store, which you're not supposed to.
Oh, it's terrible.
I flipped through it
and they keep doing new ones, and it's awful.
I don't get where that's
so happy I didn't buy that. I was like, oh, I put it back on the shelf. I was like, I'm
it's like this big mess that it's like I don't even know what.
It makes no sense. Yeah, I'm with you. I didn't like Metal at all.
Me neither.
Apparently, they're using metal. Metal. A lot of metal is what's forging this future state, right?
Yeah.
Like whatever comes out of metal is this.
Yep.
New...
That's it. Which is
keep it simple. It's the KISS theory, guys. Keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah, that's it.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
Years old, and it's lived 80 years for a reason. God, we don't need you guys coming in with your sheer fucking hubris and remolding everything. Speaking of that, real quick before we go, Edson, because you weren't here for it.
Oh.
Oh, we talked about.
I know.
Oh yeah.
They're looking to do a reboot.
Stupid.
I mean, I haven't heard a lot from it. What have you heard anything more than what we saw that they might?
No, and I think it's one of these things too, where they just threw it out there to see what kind of response they would get.
Okay.
Look, dude, I would love to see Avery Brooks.
Yeah, so would I.
But knowing Secret Hideout.
Yeah.
Yeah, another example.
Avery Brooks is a strong personality, and he would put his foot down.
He could, he could change something. Yeah. But yeah, it's another example where I hear people saying, "Oh, Lower Decks," or you're just old timers that like the old stories, and this is a new progress. Yeah, but all your new shows
keep going back to the well.
Keep bringing stuff back from the old shows. So why would you do that if those are passe? I don't get it.
Because the creators of the new stuff are creators.
They don't have any. Yeah.
They can't tell stories. They can't invent compelling characters. They can't.
Nope.
They can't give them a story arc and flesh them out and make them real people over time. They're the same cardboard cutout, boring cut and paste pieces of crap they were from episode 1. It's just garbage. And
am I the only one watching Lower Decks?
Yes.
Yep.
Probably.
You should do some reviews on it, Jude, because they get eyeballs, and you're the only one brave enough to watch it. But
listen,
it's
pure
on Spock and Pike, and Lower Decks is leaning on Riker and Q and
yeah. It injects everything that's. I mean, it injects everything from everything that's in the recipe. It's taking all this stuff from everywhere and just injecting it to make a shit pie. But regardless, I only watch it because I know it's bad, but in some weird way, I like watching terrible shit for some reason. I don't know why.
The fact that it's 20 minutes long helps, Jude.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
If that was an hour, you wouldn't watch it.
Like at the end of it, I almost like rate it in my head like that was fucking terrible. I'd give that like a 2 out of 5. But then I need to watch the next one to see if it actually can get any worse. So for some reason, it's like a guilty pleasure in a way.
But I have heard from the usual suspects online, Gary at Nerdrotic and Doomcock and Mecha Random, and they all kind of say the same thing though. They don't hate it as much as you do. They don't say it's that bad. They say it's competent. It's just dull and boring and not worth their time.
Right. Yeah.
I feel like it could be unrelated to Star Trek and be its own space show, and it wouldn't have been any different. In fact, it would have been more successful if they just called it Space Crew or something, and it just had no relation to Star Trek.
Same with Discovery.
And it was on its own thing, and people would have still watched it. And that's how I feel about the show. It doesn't really have... Like, it steals a lot of stuff from Star Trek, like little pickup lines, I like to call them. Like, all of a sudden they'll say something random, and you're like, oh, well, I know what that means.
Remember that time Khan said to Kirk? Yeah,
right.
No.
Right.
If Discovery was called, like, Warship Discovery and was its own science fiction show, it would probably work.
Right.
On some level.
It's definitely got that... Star Trek. Right. It's got that Morty and... What's that show?
That Rick and Morty sort of feel to it.
It's got that Rick and Morty thing. I mean, the animation, how fast the delivery is with the lines, how it tries to be, it thinks it's witty. But
that's how you cover up the lack of jokes, by just saying things fast and stomping on each other.
Right.
That covers up the fact that you can't write jokes.
Yeah. But I mean, there is a storyline, and, it does follow to that. It's not like it's all over the place. There is a underlying storyline, and it sort of says that the whole crew of that ship are a bunch of idiots. So it does make fun of itself eventually, but it's.
But remember when Starfleet took the best of the best of the best?
Yeah.
That, like, even Wesley Crusher almost didn't make it.
Well, he didn't make it the first time.
Right, he didn't. Right.
He
couldn't get the bar exam twice. Yeah. So no, I just can't. I watched.
Oh yeah, I agree. If it was about something else other than Starfleet, yeah, sure.
Yeah, it could be its own show without. And I always feel that way sometimes about stuff that tries to spin off of franchises. It's like sometimes it just executed so poorly. You literally think you should have just went your own direction, and you probably would have gotten more popularity with
brand
the show.
Recognition seems to them like instant bank.
But it doesn't always work. It backfires.
Right. You brought up a remake earlier. Did they need to do a Poltergeist remake? No.
Poltergeist is a well-known horror movie, so therefore, if we remake it, we're going to get the old audience and the new audience. Hey, Sonny boy, I love this movie as a kid. Let's go see the new one.
Right, with the new fancy new special effects.
But
it's like puppets and stuff.
So the mindset I'd have to get myself into was to actually watch Lower Decks and not think of it as a Star Trek show, and then come up with my.
What I think you should do is drink a 6-pack of one of your designer beers and watch it, and I think you'll enjoy it much.
But you know what I mean? If I took myself out of that,
I'm glad you said that, because I had to do that with one of the movie franchise that the first time around I was like enraged by it.
X-Men.
It's it's not X-Men. I'm still enraged by the X-Men, but the movies work. It's just that I was enraged because of what it the Bourne Identity movies.
Oh, you're kidding!
They're great. They're great movies. They're not the Bourne Identity.
No, of course not. Well,
if you were a reader of the book, you're like, are you kidding me? Which I was. I love those books from like back in college, and it was one of my favorite. It is my favorite Ludlum books, and they're about espionage but it has nothing. The movies have nothing to do, almost nothing, except for the amnesia aspect of it. Nothing to do with Matt Damon's. But I love those movies. They work. Yeah. I just wish they were called something other than Bourne Identity. That's all.
People say that about Jack Reacher with Tom Cruise. The exact same thing.
Okay.
It's not even close. And the Jack Reacher is like a 6'5" burly guy, and they have 5'6" Tom Cruise playing him. But it works as a film.
So yeah, that work. Yeah, some work.
And the same thing. They took like elements of different books to make, the movie. So, but it works. The first one's great. Second one, it's entertaining. I wish they'd make more, but I think they're going to try to reboot it without Tom.
Yeah.
Well, how old is he now? I mean,
he's 57.
Yeah,
the guy's in
actually he's in the. I think they were doing the Top Gun movie, and it got moved.
Top Gun's done. It's moved till next summer now.
Okay.
It was supposed to come out this summer. It's done. There's another one. I mean, we didn't even get to that. We did that on the podcast on Saturday. It's on the first episode, but the death of movie theaters. We'll talk about that next week.
But I like the fact that he is coming to terms that he's a has-been. In the trailer, they're presenting him as the,
that, but he's making Mission Impossible 7, and it's going to be in outer space, and he's working on Zero Grav, and
Moonraker?
Sounds like it.
It always comes back, see? People like that movie, Keith.
I listened to a great James Bond podcast called License to Podcast, and they're up to License to Kill, I believe. They do once a month. It comes out. It's an hour and a half long.
I gotta start listening to that.
It's so good. And when they did Moonraker, man, I couldn't stop. They were trashing it. You should listen to it. It's good.
It's got a special place.
It has to, because
I think it's because that's the first really James Bond I saw when I was a kid. Because it was around that period of time. What was it? It must have came out in the early 80s, right?
Moonraker was 79.
I was born in 76, so obviously I saw it later on. But
the first Bond I saw in the theater was For Your Eyes Only.
I think it was Moonraker and Octopussy. Octopussy, I think, was my first one I saw released.
Right.
So
yeah,
which had one of the best villains.
Good, man. I look at it this way: bad James Bond is still better than most other things. So.
Yeah.
At least you're being entertained. I mean,
I love James Bond, dude.
Yeah.
I love James Bond almost as much as I love Star Trek. I can sit here. If we started talking about James Bond right now, we'll be on for another.
Well, we did do a podcast on back.
I did, and I released it. Did you hear? I put it out as the final episode of season 1
of our old
unedited James Bond.
The one where you keep going back to me and like, hey, what's your favorite of the movies? Like, I don't know. I've never seen a James Bond all the way through.
I did the last episode by myself because we couldn't get anybody together, and we were moving into geek time, and I just wanted to get it out. So I put the James Bond segment in. It's a half an hour unedited, and then I did a top 5 presidential targets countdown.
We got to get more of them on.
Yeah. So, yeah, go give a listen. It's really funny because we get to Pete, and each time we go to you, Pete, it gets like faster and faster. We're like, Pete, and you're like, well, I have to admit, I didn't really know. And then by the time we're like, okay, Pete, skip it. Never mind. Each time we come to you, it goes quicker and quicker and quicker. It's funny. I was laughing my ass off because it becomes apparent that only Angelo and I really know.
Yeah, you guys know. I didn't even know you knew as much as you did. I was like, holy crap! Like, I mean, I know some, but you guys know the whole lore.
Oh yeah, I love Bond. And I've been fighting with myself. I want to watch more Bond this month, but it's scary movie month.
Don't you have the whole set? You right? You have a whole collector set.
I remember seeing it. Everyone, and I'm just waiting for the new one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I bet you that. Theater. I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be a theater release. Is it?
I don't know either.
You know what though?
I thought they were teasing it for.
Not to give away our podcast that's coming out next week, but which I edited. It's ready to go. It's already uploaded. When we talked about the movie theaters, I kind of want it to go to what we all think it's going to go to.
Well, you guys have been going, so why don't you tell us? Like,
I kind of. Well, it's too much to get into now, but. They're gonna. These big box theaters are dead meat. They're gone. They're done. I'm kind of hoping it goes back to like the little two-screen mom and pop, and these movies become an event, and they sit in the theater for 15 weeks, and just kind of like I think you said it on the show. Hit the reset button. Hit the reset button.
Well, I'd like to believe that.
I think the theater greed and the studio greed, it's max.
I mean, here's the thing. Going to the movies is not about going to a big movie theater. Going to the movies for me is the experience of being in a theater with the lights and the popcorn and
get your teeth rattled out of your head.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, I miss that because it's like listening to vinyl as opposed to a CD or an MP3. Like no matter what, vinyl, you always want to put that on. It's an experience of putting the needle on and listening to it. And I think the movies you could watch. You know, I hate to say this. I mean, I don't want to get flagged by the FBI, but I do have a hacked Fire Stick, and there is some movies that I've seen that are maybe out of the theater. They're going out of the theater. The experience is not the same. So the only reason why it's happening is because I'm not ready yet to go to a movie theater. But I will say
nobody in there, you'll be fine.
Right. I will say without a shadow of a doubt, once I feel comfortable, I will see these movies in theaters.
If you want a sense of free advice, go soon because they're going to be shutting all their doors. They're done. Right. Regal already shut everything down worldwide. Cinemark shut down, and AMC says they're going to be out of money in a couple months. So if you want to go to a movie, go now.
Yeah. Or you could always pay $100, rent the theater for yourself.
Oh, that's what we should do. Let's talk about that real quick because now we just hit 3 hours. We got to get out of here. AMC is renting theaters for $99, dude. Let me see if I can find it. And I was wrong that it's not what they're currently playing. They have a list of 34.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So you can pick?
You can pick whatever from their list of 34.
Wow. Well, I want to see The Empire Strikes Back, and I don't want anybody else to see it. I can pay $100 and watch The Empire Strikes Back.
Well, here's the thing. Empire's gone.
Yeah.
They might still have it as part of this, but you guys can see this, right?
So wait a second. You rent out the theater and then you could bring your own film?
No, you don't bring your own.
No.
No, they have a choice.
So you can rent the theater for $99. So for 20 of us, that's $5 a person.
And then they have a list of movies that you could play.
Yes. Let's see.
So you're not bringing your home movies.
No. It's because if that was the fact, I'd pay $100 and watch Nosferatu in the theater.
They cap it at 20 anyway.
People are going to be buying prints. All of a sudden, movie reels are going to be on eBay. And
older films are $99. Newer films like Tenet cost between $149 and $349.
Yeah.
So AMC.
Does that mean if you rent it out though, you have the liberty of doing whatever you want in that movie theater? Can you bring like a big keg in and?
Oh, I thought you were talking about you were going to smuggle a few hookers in there.
Whoa.
Escorts.
See, we could fill out an escorts.
Friends.
So let's see. No, thanks. Here we go. Host a private showing. Blah, blah, starting at $99. Let's see. Questions. Check out how do you pick oh, here it is. Which movie do you want to watch? Here we go. So we got Tenet, Hocus Pocus, Shrek, War with Grandpa. Let's get that.
Oh.
I'd watch Shrek in the theater and Jurassic Park. I'd definitely put this. And Sonic.
There's more than this.
Sonic's actually not that bad of a movie. I don't know.
Oh, Monsters Inc. Wow.
Sonic wasn't that bad.
How about New Mutants?
No,
I haven't. You guys saw it.
How much money did we waste on that, Pete? 11.
Yeah, that was on a cheap night, and no, the tickets were cheap anyway.
It's not bad, Jude. It's like watching a CW show.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah, it got that whole horror element. Like I thought,
not even that. It's just,
not even that. No, it didn't even have much of that.
No.
It doesn't feel like a major motion picture. It feels like a TV show that was in the movie theater. So, I mean, it's not awful. It's not incompetent and like laughably bad. It's just meh.
Just not good.
In fact,
you know what?
Our review, Pete and I did a review of it.
You know what they should do, and I know this is a complete. Like, I know some people aren't into it, but I would like to go back to see a good 3D movie. I don't know why.
No, I
do. I'd see Jaws 3D.
So Tenet, wow, Tenet costs.
You wouldn't go see Jaws 3D if it came to the theater?
If it came to the theater, I probably would go see Jaws.
There 3D. You go.
Oh yeah, for the camp, yes.
That's what I mean. I totally, if Jaws, yeah, like I'm talking old 3D. I'm not talking new stuff. I'm talking like
Halloween 3.
Yeah, like some of the older
3D one of those. Yeah.
I mean, if I would totally go.
Jurassic Park's $100. That might be worth doing. Get 20 of us.
I'd do it.
Abby's never seen Jurassic Park on the big screen. Edson, right?
That's right. She hasn't.
I bet you I can corral some people to go see it in the movie theater if we rent it out.
I mean, even if we only brought 10 of us, that's $10 each.
That's $10. Yeah,
That's fine.
Right. But they cap it at 20 anyway. So
right.
I think it'd be
my question is can you like back in the day, you used to rent out theaters for like a birthday party.
Yeah.
Can you do it where you can bring pizza and beer and like?
There's a fee for outside food. They want you to buy theirs.
Oh, so you can't bring in like
the cinema exists. Like the cinema only makes money off of concessions. They don't make much off these movies. They pay a rental, and the studio keeps the bulk of it. So that's why you pay $7 for a soda and $15.95 for a small.
No, I get it. I just thought it would be nice if you could just kind of treat the space like a,
like a dorm room. Wow, we're racking up viewers as we're over the 3-hour mark.
Hey, you know what's really funny? And this is sort of off topic, but I didn't realize the Kiss song "Plaster Caster" was about a woman who was a groupie in
a real person
in the 70s that took molds of rock stars' penises.
Yeah, she molded their penises and had a whole collection.
I never knew that. That's so funny. I was reading that online, and there's a whole. It goes like there's if you go on YouTube, there's documentaries on this woman.
Oh yeah,
I've heard of her.
Yeah,
Plaster
Caster. That was her name. Yeah. That's like when I found out the song Black Diamond's about a hooker. I was like, it is? I mean, it makes total sense. Okay.
But so I was on YouTube, and for some odd reason I was watching some stuff about Jimi Hendrix and the Doors, and this documentary came up with this woman, and I was like, what the fuck is this? And then she has like in her apartment, she's got these pedestals, these columns, like Roman columns, they're only about 3 feet high, and all of her casts sit there.
Yeah.
And she's talking, and she's lifting them up, and she's handing them to the other woman who's interviewing her, and she's like, "Oh, this is so and so's penis." And then she started talking about how Kiss wrote a song about her, and I was like, "What?"
Yeah. I think Gene wrote the song after she cast him. I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong.
Friggin' hilarious.
Yeah.
Anyway, I totally side topic, but
that's almost as good as putting the blood in the comic book ink, but better.
Anyway, if you guys are interested, look up the woman Plastic Caster.
It's another story for another day.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. I think we should wrap this puppy up.
All right. It was fun.
It was fun. So
I do miss doing this on Fridays, though. I don't know why. I feel like.
Well, I don't want to compete with. We'll never get compete with. Doomcock does one. Gary does one.
I know. It's just
I picked a night right now that like we don't have football and stuff like that. So once football season's over, we can move it maybe. But I figured Tuesday was safe.
Yeah, I don't mind this. It's just
except for Pint of Comics.
But they're every other week, so at least.
Oh, okay, all right. So we're not always going to be competing with them,
right? Right.
Our friends over at Pint
I don't know how long they're going to do it because they're only doing these movie reviews for Friday the 13th. They might change.
Oh, they're great, and that's what actually got me into watching them is because I listened to their podcast and they talk about each one now. So I watch it and then I catch up to their podcast.
Yeah, I didn't realize they were Tuesday night until I already set this whole thing up. But
I think they're doing the Halloweens next. I think.
Are they?
I think that's what I saw on their Facebook page.
Well, maybe. Yeah.
And they're great. And they're great. I definitely watch a Friday the 13th. Go to their podcast, Pint of Comics, and listen to the reviews.
And speaking of Jaws 3D, I just did an episode with John last week about Jaws 3D of Pint. Yeah, it'll be a good one. Yeah,
I love that. It's just like
the opening shot where it bites the fish in half and the fish head floats around for 4 minutes. It's 3D. And I talk about how the whole pacing of that film is completely fucked because most of it was based on the 3D. Right. Stuff and it just these deliberate slow shots of stuff pointing in your face. It's just bad. Anyway,
so bad it's good.
Let's put this puppy to bed. we'll get a guest for next week. And if
All
you
right.
guys see something during the week, throw some topics down. We got to keep this truck moving. So
It's always moving.
it's always moving. There's always some kind of weird shit going on.
Do we have an outro music? Or
I do, but before we go, we have to hear one more time from our dear Alex Kurtzman.
The goal is not really to promote Star Trek, but to promote these organizations and to use our platform, It's not really to promote Star Trek.
He loves him.
What an asshole.
You need
All right.
that. You need the face. What is it? Was it?
The card face palm at the end.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do that for next week. I'll add that on there. Nice. All right, man. Good night, everyone.
Everybody have a good
Night.
night.
All right. We'll
Thanks
see
for
you
tuning in.
Tuesday night. Same bat time, same bat channel. Tatooine Comics.
No.
If you like this video, please subscribe to the channel. If you subscribe, make sure you click the little bell icon to be notified anytime someone from our show drops new content here. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you soon.
Say, kids, what time is that?